This is Julien from the St Lucian Seamoss Company, and we are doing Seamoss Talk with Julien. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and also Clubhouse. If you want to join us on Clubhouse and talk there, you're welcome to. And if you want to click the links here that I'm going to post in the Facebook groups, you can join there and be a guest for those events. Let me know if anybody has any questions in any of the groups before I get started kind of talking. I am expecting a few guests to come and visit us to talk about different stuff that they're doing and about Seamoss. It is like an open discussion, like I said before, so there's not we're not following any like sort of structure or anything like that. I want to kind of keep it pretty open and loose, so to speak. Comments in here. Comments in here. Okay, why is the camera so? Is that the quality of it? Yeah, looks better. Okay, so let's get back into it. I'm going to share my screen and get this link so that you guys can follow along. We've already started on the Clubhouse, and we've been talking a little bit in there. So one of the things that theory is actually accurate, because I have found an article where says that there isn't this theory about the 92-102 mirror is incorrect. I'm just also chatting here. What's up? So, oh yeah, I was sharing my screen. So let's share the screen. That way I can talk about this, and you guys can follow along. Okay, so I'm going to start again from the top. Sorry for those that have heard this again, but okay. In this article, the title is What Elements Are Present in the Human Body? The main caption reads here: the human body consists of 60 different elements, including oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, sodium chloride, magnesium, and 49 elements in trace quantities. However, not all atoms are the same. Of the 118 elements, 98 occur naturally, and the human body comprises 60 of these natural elements. And so it has a link here to the source. I'm actually going to save that source, and we can go back to it after we read the article. Because for me, I like to go in depth a little bit, and I like to see the sources of the sources. You know what I mean? So getting back to the article here, based on the number of atoms, their contribution to the total weight of the human body, the elements can be divided into three groups: the main elements, the elements, and the trace elements. So main elements, as the name suggests, are the ones that are most important for the functioning of the body, followed in volume of the secondary elements. However, when regarding trace elements, they're not all known to be involved in the functioning of the human body. So there's a lot of elements that we have in our body, but there's no proof or use that they can see. There's nothing that they can point to that what these minerals are used for, or these elements, I should say, are used for. The four main elements in the body is oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, and nitrogen. Approximately 60% of the body is comprised of water. Therefore, it's no surprise oxygen and hydrogen are the two main elements, right? Um, so in this graph here, it shows our body is 65% oxygen, 18.5% carbon, 9.5% hydrogen, um, and 3% nitrogen. So I'm going to leave that into the chat. Okay. Oxygen in the form of the water helps regulate our body temperature, osmotic pressure, while molecular oxygen that we inhale plays a vital role in converting glucose to ATP molecules. Oxygen is a component of all major organic compounds, protein, carbohydrates, lipid, and lactic acids found in the human body. However, too much oxygen can prove harmful to the body. Like oxygen, hydrogen is mostly present in the form of water and is found in every single organic compound. Carbon, the central element of organic compounds, is the second most abundant element in the human body and comprises about 18% of the total body weight. Carbon is the primary element for all life on Earth and is the base for all organic compounds. Coming in after carbon and nitrogen, this element is responsible for the total weight of 3% of the total weight of a human. Nitrogen is the most abundant element in Earth's atmosphere and sneaks inside our body alongside oxygen in every breath we take. However, the body has no use for nitrogen in its gaseous state and therefore expels it immediately, but accepts nitrogen from food. The element is an important compound of amino acids which are used to build proteins and nucleic acids like DNA and RNA, genetic material. So I hope this isn't boring, you guys. If you guys want to interrupt me and ask any questions, like feel free. Um, I'm really just reading this so we can, I don't have to read this out to everybody. We can always talk about other stuff, but I shall continue. So the secondary elements are calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, and magnesium. Calcium is the fifth most abundant element and the most abundant material in the human body. It represents approximately 1.5% of the total body weight, while 99% of calcium is found in the bones and teeth in compounds like hydroxypolate. The element also plays an important role in contracting muscles and in the regulation of proteins. So they just really go in here and they kind of, talk about what potassium does to the body, what sulfur aids in the body's balance of water salt and plays the role of catalyst in converting ATP to ADP. Magnesium, on the hand, is involved in multiple metabolic and enzymatic reactions while also playing a structural role in bones and teeth. So there are 49 other elements found in trace quantities in the human body. However, of these 49 elements, only some are believed to be essential for human life. While some serve no purpose but do no harm, these substances are considered contaminants. Examples of contaminant elements include aluminum, titanium, cesium, silver, etc. The trace elements are essential for human life include iron, zinc, copper, iodine, selenium, chromium, magnesium, lithium, molybdenum, and cobalt. Iron is perhaps the most important as it is essential for transporting oxygen to red blood cells in the form of hemoglobin. Zinc and copper are found in certain proteins, while thyroid hormones like thyroxine and thyrodoxine comprise iodine. There are also some elements such as silicon, boron, nickel, palladium that are deemed possibly or probably essential for human life. Elements such as lead, antimony, thallium, and radioactive elements like thorium, uranium, and radium are toxic to the body. Nevertheless, these 60 elements are responsible for everything that we are as humans. So it's a pretty interesting article, and it is backed by some of these links. I'll go into some of the sources. One of the comments here from Facebook is saying, I believe this can be further assessed with a nutrient lab test result of CMOS. Yeah, I believe that's true. The thing is, what I've found when doing the research, or not research, while I was researching and getting CMOS tested, many of the places that test CMOS aren't able to test for, like, when you ask them, are you able to test the 102 minerals? They're just kind of like, no, like, no one tests for that many stuff. And I think that some places will do it, but it's like $200 an element or something like that, or $300 an element, which is kind of, I don't know, it's a little crazy to spend that much on doing a test and stuff. So one of the links to that article that was written is this one here that I just pulled up, and it's from the the U.S. Library of Medicine Natural Institutes of Health, and it talks about the element of life and medicines. This seems like a really interesting article. I read a little bit about it. Like, I didn't go too deep. It's kind of long. It's pretty lengthy, but in the abstract, it talks about which elements are essential for human life. Um, Here we make an element by element journey through the periodic table in an attempt to assess whether elements are essential or not, and if they are, whether there is a relevant code for them in human genome. There are many difficulties such as the human biochemistry of several so-called essential elements is not well understood, and it is not clear how we should classify elements that are involved in the destruction of invading microorganisms, or elements which are essential for microorganisms which we live in symbiosis. In general, genes do not code for the elements themselves, but for specific chemical species, for the element, oxidation state, type, and number. See, some of this gets like really kind of detailed and technical, and I wish they would just kind of get to the point. I'm gonna post in the. Oh, I didn't see someone had their hands up. Sorry, Andre and Todd. Hey, Todd, go ahead if you want to talk. Like, we're just kind of wrapping right now. And Andre, like, feel free to join.
How's it going, Julien?
Good.
I was just when you were talking about the testing aspect of it and the like the pricing. I come from the CBD world with extraction, so like the HPLC type testing that is kind of like standard in that, and it's always been a thing where if you're not going with a like set compound at one of these labs that you're looking for, like test how much percentage of this is in there, and you're saying find out the chemical makeup of this, those tests start to get astronomical, and you only see a company that's really got a high budget and really like they that's part of their agenda is to break everything down and figure it out. Those are the only ones that would attempt something like that.
Yeah,
it's just astronomical in price.
I agree. A lot of people claim, oh, I got the test, this, that, and a lot of times I know, because I've called the places. There's a reason why everybody's not getting these tests. Otherwise, people would have got them a long time ago. They're expensive. That's fact. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and unless it's worthwhile to your business, like it's some type of marketing tool or something that you're really going to use as a cornerstone, it really doesn't even make sense to do it just to prove a point, you know?
Yes, that's true.
Hey, Julien, Todd.
Yes.
This is the first time I'm actually using Clubhouse, so I wasn't even too sure how to speak on it.
Oh.
That's why I kept coming on and off.
No problem, no problem.
So anyway, I'm actually based in Grenada. I'm from the UK, but I'm in Grenada. I've been in Grenada since 2004. So, I'm a kind of veteran here now. I've only recently started cultivating though. And that was important for me because I wanted to get involved in the business, but I wanted to make sure I do it from grassroots, which is understanding the whole basis of it. And going back to the testing, I'm actually in the process of getting it tested at the moment. But just like you, when I went in there, they gave me some figures that I wasn't really that comfortable with, considering that I haven't even really started making bloody money yet.
Yeah.
But what I am doing is getting my environment tested, which is the water.
That's what I always, sorry to interrupt you, but that's what I always tell people, that what's most important is the waters that the sea moss is in, because that's what it's absorbing.
Exactly. Exactly. Another thing I wanted to like cover as well is I've noticed that I'm seeing a lot of white, brown sea moss. Now, being a cultivator myself and being in the environment, that is not natural. Going back to the minerals and having 92 minerals or 102 minerals, when they put it through that process of bleaching, it actually kills a lot of the minerals in it, which is what a lot of people don't know. They think that just like when I grew up, I saw sea moss as being brown. But it's only as I'm cultivating it now, I realize it comes in various different colors, which is the greens, the lime greens, the purple, the pink, but it does not come in brown. So, and I've seen the people that are bleaching it, and they're bleaching out a lot of the minerals out of the sea moss, which is it's actually killing it.
Yeah,
so for
I think
bleaching process is just drying it in the sun versus in the shade, correct? Well, not really, because they're sweating it. They're actually sweating it. They're putting plastic over it and they're sweating it. I mean, as I said, I'm actually cultivating it myself, so I'm around farmers that because don't forget, you've got two different types of farmers. You've got the farmers that have got the budget to do it properly, and then you've got the farmers that are doing it quickly, so they can make money, because you do get the poor end, the people that's on the lower end that can't really afford to, the various, like for example, the drying facilities. A lot of people put it on galvanized, which is zinc, and which is, as you know, sea moss, it soaks in its environment. So if you're putting it on zinc and then you're putting it in the sun, it's only going to soak up the negative aspects of the galvanized, which is another problem. And it all boils down to education, because don't forget, as I said, a lot of people that's actually growing sea moss, they're not really well educated, but they know what they're doing, but they can farm. Just like you've got farmers that's, doing regular farming on the soil.
Yes.
They know what they're doing. It's just that they're not educated to really understand the full aspects of it, because all they're thinking about is profit, money, 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 money. And this is what a lot of people have got involved in with the sea moss energy right now. All they're thinking about is the hustle.
Yes. That is true.
That's where the problem lies right now, because we're getting all different types of sea moss out there right now. That's just, I'm looking at it and I'm cringing, because I'm thinking, you lot really don't understand the process of this thing. And as I said, with the water, the particles in the water, because certain countries, their waters are more polluted than others.
Yes.
Especially with these yachties. Because these yachties, a lot of them are not being regulated by the government, so they're dumping all of their shit in the water. And a lot of that water is where the people are actually growing sea moss, which is another thing as well. Hence the reason why, getting the water tested will dictate the quality of your sea moss.
Yachties. When you say yachties, you're talking like yacht boats and stuff?
Yeah, yachties, these, because you got a lot of these yachties all over the world, and they come and they go for safe harbor in the Caribbean waters and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm referring to the Caribbean because that's why. But that's what they're doing, because whenever the winter time comes, they travel. They come from Canada, they come from Europe, they come from all over the world, and they come and they plot.
Yeah.
And most of them, because of the way that the Caribbean is set up, the government doesn't necessarily have the budget to be able to monitor, exactly what they're doing. They don't have the facilities to have shipboats to go around to make sure that they pay their money and they take their shit off. For most of these people, they will just drive out a little bit and dump their shit, or they'll just dump it right there because they're not staying for long, so they don't give a shit.
No,
to be quite honest, literally.
that is true.
Yeah.
That is
You
true.
understand? So, as I said, being here and being a cultivator and being actually in the environment, I see it from a totally different aspect, not just as a hustle, so you actually just buying it. I'm cultivating it. So I know what it takes, from dot one straight up to the month, before we harvest. And let me ask you guys something. As far as the water purity and the cleanliness, do you guys? I mean, Julian, I know you're familiar with St. Lucia, and then Andre, you said you're in Grenada.
Grenada.
You guys, Grenada, my bad. Do you guys know what areas the shipping, like when they have the shipping lines, when they're bringing cruisers through, where they travel in relation to those islands, or where they're dumping off, where their water, like the runoff from the city, goes into versus what areas are cleaner, or is it all just pretty much uniform? You know what I mean? No, you can visibly see it. The traffic. There is places where there is safe havens for the yachties, so you can pretty much see where that is. As for where the shipping goes, you know that the channel where they go, because we have a Pacific and an Atlantic side, and they're generally on one side or the other. So you can gauge it, because there's not many places, because of the reefs as well. There's not many places that these ships can go. So you can pretty much gauge where it's going to be more polluted or where it's going to have more traffic than others, because it's small islands. We're on islands, so it's not it's not very difficult. You can get a bloody drone and drive over it in half an hour.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Okay.
So, my experience with St. Lucia, though, is that pretty much all, if not 95% of the areas that are being used to cultivate the Seamoss are being grown in areas that are like protective areas, or areas where there's like either little to no boat traffic, human traffic, anything at all. Like the boats don't even, most of the boats for St. Lucia and the yachts and stuff, they tend to be in the northern end of the island and more on the Caribbean side, where many of the
what, Castries?
Yes, like Castries, Gros Soleil, pretty much, down to like maybe Soufrière. But other than that, like you wouldn't find too many like boats. Like they might come into Beaufort Harbor once in a while, right? But like there's no sea moss that's really being grown there. And most of these guys are pretty, how do you say it? Like they take a lot of pride in their sea moss. They're not just like, there are guys that are in it for the money. There's no doubt about it. But most of the guys that I've come across in Seamoss, the ones that have been doing it long before it's become popular, this is like a way of life to them, and like they take great pride in the quality of their Seamoss. But Andre, to go as you're saying, you're right. The gold Seamoss, because you sweat out the Seamoss, I don't know if you would kill nutrients, but you would definitely leach out the minerals and like the quantity. That's why the purple and the green and the colored ones, I find that they tend to be a little bit more stronger on the body, is because they do have more nutrients in them.
And another thing as well, going back to what you're saying, that you were breaking down all of the different benefits of the Seamoss, I find that if you don't balance out your other aspects of your diet, it really just becomes another refreshment drink. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Because, for example, they would say the iodine, which is the salt contents that comes off of the Seamoss, would deal with, especially women, especially our black women that have thyroid problems. But at the same time, if they're still eating KFC and they're still doing all of that, they can drink as much bloody Seamoss as they want, but they're still going to have the same problems in that respect. So it really is a holistic aspect, because once you go into dealing with Seamoss, it's very much a natural organic thing, whereas you have to look at all other aspects to deal with your body, because to allow Seamoss alone to take care of all of these problems is just impossible, really, you know what I mean? Because you see all of the contaminants and all of the other, environmentally unfriendly stuff that we have to deal with for our bodies, with these artificial preservatives and so much other garbage that if we don't watch it, you know what I mean? And that's one thing I definitely realized, that is is definitely a thing as well, because when we're preaching this, we have to preach all of the other herbs and other stuff that we've got in the ground, because sea moss is one of them, which is extracted from the sea. But then we've got all of these other herbs in the Caribbean that we can use to back it up and to ensure that the sea moss does what it's supposed to do in that sense, you know. So there's a lot of work to it.
I fully agree. There are so many herbs and sort of like, I guess, stuff that we can be taking that are like sea moss is great and all, but it's not the. Pardon?
No, I say it would complement some of the others that we take that would complement the sea moss to make it, to give it its full potential.
Exactly.
It's almost like adding vitamin C to certain other products, and it enhances it in that sense.
That is, I agree. I definitely agree. I agree. But that's, how do I say it? It's good that we people are getting started in CMOS, and I think it's just that's why it's important to make sure that we don't just push the CMOS narrative and show that there's other products that people could be taking. Even like part of me doing this live stream is just kind of to open up the conversation and create like topics so that it's not just CMOS, right? Like people don't like. Have you guys tried moringa?
Oh yeah.
I
just started probably 2 weeks ago with the moringa.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been on black seed and elderberry and several other like different herbs for a while, and I just added the moringa, and I can feel the difference. I put it in a gel, and I can feel the difference.
Yeah, moringa I think is a great complement or a great additive to the sea moss. You know what I mean? And even burdock root and bladderwrack. Although I've tried bladderwrack I think with sea moss, which I thought was good. I like the effects of it, but I haven't tried burdock root. But everybody is always singing the praises of how good burdock root is. So I can't imagine.
The burdock and bladderwrack combination is as strong as the moringa. It would not. Like by itself, I didn't feel the same when I started just bladderwrack and burdock with my gel. I didn't feel the same kick that I do with the moringa.
Yeah, the moringa is off the charts. That stuff is amazing. I'm surprised that people are not more into the moringa. I think that's even something that we might look at starting to release as a new product, like or to start supplying, because I can see that moringa is going to be something that people are going to start learning more about. You know.
But it just all goes down to education, and because the COVID is one thing that has given, especially black people now, an opportunity to reevaluate their health and what they're reducing, because we've been lost in that, lost in the fast foods and just believing that our system is the same as everybody else's. When historically we know that that's not the case. Scientifically we know that that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's been one of the problems, because we've been so brainwashed and so assimilated to the system here in Canada. I mean, I was in the UK. I don't know about you, Todd, where you're based. But a lot of us, we actually sort of believe that we can eat the same foods and we get the same results. But, clearly it's not the case, because even the sun, we need the sun more than them.
Yeah.
to give us that boost that we need, because if the lack of sun, it reduces a lot of depresses us a lot more. So and another thing, do you not drink the CMOS as a tea?
Do I drink the CMOS as a tea?
Yeah, just as a tea, like a normal tea.
Like I add it to the tea, yeah. But a lot of times I just eat it raw. Like I make it into a gel and then I just squeeze it into my mouth.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. How long have you been in cultivation of the CMOS?
Wow, okay. Well, I started in July.
Oh, cool. And
cool, yeah. Sounds good, doesn't it? But I got some links, because when I got permission from the government, because they allocate you areas, you just
Oh.
can't put Seamoss down anywhere, because obviously, you know, the beaches and people using the beaches, so they kind of allocate places for this. So they allocate. I found the spot. They said to me it was okay to do it. I started in July, and within a couple of months of me really enjoying the experience of going down there pretty much every other day, just being amongst the Seamoss, watching it grow slowly, cleaning it, you know, all of that process.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt you because you're like you're touching at my heart. Isn't it beautiful when you're in the water like that and you're cleaning the sea moss and the waves are you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Or how it feels when you find sea moss as you're walking around the farm. Have you done that where it's like you step on it and you find a big patch of oh my god. Oh.
Yeah, but you put it right back in and you replant it right back.
Yep.
Yeah, I did that and I was enjoying that for a couple of months. And then we got a weather report that we're going to get high winds and stuff.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, well, I've secured my plot good enough. And we had about 2 or 3 days of some really hard rain. And when I went down there after the third day, my whole plot was twisted up. And my Seamoss was in people's hands because every morning people were finding themselves on the beach, which they were anyway, normally, the locals and wherever. And I'm seeing them with big bunches of Seamoss in their hands. I couldn't tell them nothing because it's naturally coming up on the shore.
Yes.
And when I did go and speak to a couple of established Seamoss farmers, they said to me, around this time of the year, they generally cool out.
Yep.
Because of the weather and because, you know,
the hurricane.
And I didn't know that. So I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? But still, stubbornly, I'm still going back. I reset my plot and I'm back in there again.
Yes.
About a week, about 2 weeks after that, same shit happened again. So it just, but you know, at the same time, it's, I've had to re-engineer my plot a lot. And it's taught me a lot. So come January now is when I'm going to be going full-fledged because between January and August is when we get our kind of dry season down here. The weather is really cool. And that's the best time really to cultivate Seamoss.
Yes.
So, but I tell you, it's I go down there and I'll spend 4 or 5 hours, and it seems like an hour. And that's when I realized that I love this shit. You know what I mean? I really, really enjoy just being there. I'm not hearing no music. I don't need nobody around me.
Quiet.
It's just me, the sea, the hot sun, and I'm constantly diving. To be quite honest, prior to that, I wasn't really a sea person. I'm not a really great swimmer, but luckily for where I am, it's relatively shallow.
Yeah.
So I don't really need to really worry about the aspects of it. And I'm really sort of actually teaching myself to swim, but it's crazy, man, how I'm just enjoying the experience now. It's something that I can see myself doing for a very long time to come now.
Bro, I'm right there with you. You know what I mean? It's like you're bringing back memories because I spent a lot of time in St. Lucia and I was like working on people's farms and we built our own farm down there and stuff with it. Like, how many ropes do you have? And how do you do your farm? Is it stick and rope?
Well, this is it. I've been studying what people have been doing out here. A lot of people have been doing the old school putting sticks in.
Yeah.
And tying ropes onto it. I observed that. Didn't really like that because I wasn't confident with that. It just didn't seem like, I don't know, it worked for them, but it does actually work because the sticks are there all of the time. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad it stays.
Those sticks handle.
I also looked at some people that were using bamboo. So I decided that I'm going to use PVC. So I use 4-inch PVC pipes.
Cool.
And I tie my ropes onto that. So I'd have like probably about 10 ropes. So I'd use 20 feet PVC pipes, and I would tie my ropes onto it.
And how long are your ropes?
The yellow rope. Yeah, that's right. The yellow one. Yeah.
And how long are they? 25 feet or 50 feet?
No, I do mine at 30 feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do mine at 30 feet. So, you know, I've got some good lines. And I mean, I kept it pretty small at first because I was just learning the ropes.
Yeah.
But now I've kind of got a new plan. So, because I needed to put tensioners in the water to hold it because, as I said, that particular bay where I am is very, very deceptive. You go down there one day, it's calm, it's cool, you think it's the best beach in the world.
Yeah.
You go down there the next day, and it looks like if, I don't know, like a hurricane's coming. So
No, I know. We built a Seamoss farm in an area like that, and I remember when we scouted it out, it was all nice and clean and clear. And then the day we go in there, it was crazy, and it was like one of those things where it was like we had to do it. We had all the equipment. That was the only day we did it. We're just like fuck, and it was like we were tired. Like some of my buddies, like literally got thrown against the rocks and stuff like that because the waves are so strong. You know. Yeah.
That's exactly what it does. It really takes a toll on your body. So when you come out and then you come home and you relax and you think, bloody, I'm tired.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's really rejuvenating to the body as well,
No.
It's a really nice, healthy exercise.
I agree.
But at the moment, I'm just re-engineering the plot.
Cool.
I've had to use some big truck tires, fill them up in concrete, and then so I can pull the plot out and then use some tensioners in the front. So when the waves do come in now, it's not moving.
Yeah, I was just gonna recommend you do that. Was the tires with the anchor or a hook in the middle? That's what
you know what I initially done. I initially was using 5-gallon buckets and I was filling them up in concrete and putting a hook on it.
Not big enough.
But the mistake I made with that was obviously the buckets rolled.
Yeah.
So when the bad weather did come now, it twisted up the plot. And then the buckets were rolling, so that's why it enabled it to twist it even more. But with the tires now, they will stay flat.
Yeah.
They will just move, gently, and then eventually, after a period of time, the sand will actually cover them. So it really just becomes solidified in the water, which is exactly what I need. But you have to live and you learn. And
yeah.
Wow, I tell you, man. But it was disheartening a couple of times to go down there and to see your plot just twisted.
Yes.
All that hard work you put in, and you think, fuck, man, I want to give up. But then you come back, get a couple of days out, and you realize, no, I'm not letting this beat me. And you come again, and yeah, man, it's a good look, man. So that's where you're from, St Lucia, yeah?
Yeah. Well, actually, my mom's from Grenada. My dad's from St Lucia. Yeah. My mom's her last name's Banfield.
Banfield.
Yeah.
Okay, I know. I've got some Banfields just down the road from me.
Yeah, they might know my family. Yeah, because my grandfather was pretty popular back in the day. So I don't know. That's what I was told.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's a possibility, looking at you, it's a possibility you might be related to them actually, because the said Banfields, they're well established business wise, and it would have been popular back in the days.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you're probably related.
Yeah, that's true.
No, seriously.
No, I know. I laugh because it's true.
Because my mom's, my grandmother is the same woman I'm talking about. Her and her husband. She's the godmother. That's my, she's known my family for a very long time. And as I said, looking at you now, I can see there's a possibility. You know what I mean? It's a small place. I'm all one in the Caribbean anyway.
Oh yeah, totally. You know what I mean? It's all connected and stuff. But yeah, I'm mostly like my roots are in St Lucia, and I spend a lot of time there. I have property there, and yeah, and then my business partner is there. So.
Yeah. So what are you doing within the Seamoss? Are you buying and selling?
So yeah, the company we have is my company is called St Lucian Seamoss, the Royal St.Lucian Seamoss Company. So we export Seamoss from St Lucia. We also cultivate it. We have people that dive for it. So we do, I guess, all the process from capturing the Seamoss to drying the Seamoss to exporting the Seamoss. But there's the demand is greater than what we can produce on our own, so we buy from other people. And then we put it all together, and then so we ship it to North America. We have a warehouse in Toronto, and then a shipping location in Atlanta, and then we ship out from there all over the world.
Nice. I know St Lucia's definitely got you lot definitely got your hands in there. I see Jamaica's coming up as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're pushing it hard now.
Mm-hmm.
But I just pick up the element of the hustle.
Yeah, well,
Jamaica and stuff like that.
Grenada's a great place for Seamoss. You guys get good prices for your Seamoss. It's very clean and quality. You know.
Yeah. This is what, hence the reason why I'm taking my time and making sure we get the water samples and making sure if we say it's premium, we can actually back it up with statistics. You know what I mean? To prove that is the case, because as I said, a lot of people are just getting the Seamoss and God knows how they're actually processing it, and then they're sending it out to the customer. And as I said to them, people are consuming this stuff. You don't want it, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while, because if you're putting somebody that and somebody's consuming this thing, it takes years before that really starts to get in the bloodstream and into the system.
That is true.
Before people start to get sick, and then they're wondering, how the hell did I get so much iron or zinc or whatever in my system? All this time is because consuming bloody Seamoss with it in it. So, it's just education really, and it's the people that genuinely love the product and understand the product. The education will get out there, and then we'll start separating the good from the bad.
Mm-hmm.
We really need to understand that, because this is a beautiful product. It's such a healthy, natural thing. Because as you know anyway, when you do dive amongst the seals, what do you see? You see fishes eating off of it and sea eggs.
Yep.
So it's actually a better consumable product than actually fish, because that's what fish feeds off.
Exactly. No, that's a good point that no one actually really sort of points out, is that's the fish. But that's also a reason why I think it's important. Everybody is really hating on the cultivation of Seamoss, and they're trying to say that the wild is better. But it's like I don't believe that the wild is that much better from my experience trying it and seeing it. And then also, it's so important for the environment that Seamoss that there naturally stays there in its natural state.
What do you mean by wild? Do you mean like wild crafted, as in just naturally growing and just diving for it and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what I found? You can actually grow it and produce the same wild crafted energy. Because, for example, you use the bottles to float, yeah?
Yep.
Now, what I found was the third time when I realized what was going on, and my plot twisted, and I wanted to sort of save as much Seamoss as I can. I filled all of my bottles and I dropped all my Seamoss into the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then what would happen is, now the waves on the top wouldn't really affect it, so they wouldn't wash my shit away.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, I left it down there, and it's actually doing the same process as the wild crafting.
Yes.
It's interacting with the grass, interacting with the ground aspects of it, and it's giving it the same effect. So you can actually produce it the way that we're doing it and still get the wildcrafted energy from it, because that's basically what wildcrafted is. It's actually in touch with the elements. It will be in touch with the rocks. It will be on the ground, on the seabed, mixing up with the grass, getting all of the nutrients from all of them.
Mm-hmm. This is my theory about that, like why the Seamoss grows different, and what I was told when I was farming, like out there farming. The closer you get to the ground, the colder the water is. The colder the water is, the more thicker and hardier the Seamoss is going to grow. It's actually going to grow slower, but it's going to be more like typical and wildcrafted. And if you think about wildcrafted, the rocks are close to the ocean floor as possible. So the closer it is, the you know what I mean? It takes longer to grow that Seamoss, but it produces a thicker, more hardier Seamoss than if you put it closer to the surface. Yeah.
Absolutely. But funny enough, as you're saying about it grows slower, I don't know, it's difficult to kind of say that, because from what I'm gathering, it spreads quicker. I don't know, you might have had a different experience from what you see, but from what I'm experiencing with the ones that I've dropped in the bed,
yeah,
I just found that they just seem to be more, it's possibly because they might seem more thicker, where it seems like it's growing, quicker, but to me it's spreading. When it's in the bottom down there, it's just like, the bunches are just getting more wilder. I don't know, man.
It's just going crazy.
That's just, I've had to learn that from the fact that, I'm so scared of them bloody waves. Petrified me, so I'm jumping all of them. But it's only when I realised that, if I fill these bottles, then I can drop all of my Seamoss to the ground and I don't need to sweat myself every time I got the storm is coming. Okay, let me try that. Boom. That storm came and I went back and my Seamoss was in the bottom there just calm as hell.
Yeah,
And I looked and I thought, oh, they're just moving calm. There's no big. And on the top of the scene, on the top was the waves were panicking up there, and they were going, wow, you're thinking this is good.
yes, yes. We
I can stop these people from naturally stealing my Seamoss without being able to do nothing about it because I'm watching them pick up my shit off the shore. And they come, and what they'll do is once they know that the bad weather's coming, they specifically come early in the morning to the beach. You know, so they're coming early and they're picking up these nice lumps of Seamoss and they're walking, all proud that they found something that wasn't there before. When you know it's bloody yours, and they know it's yours, but they know that it's a natural order of things. You can't do nothing about it. I go to the police and say, look, you stole my Seamoss because it just came up on the sea. But most of the time when that happens, I'm actually smiling because I think, you know what? It's only a small lunch and you're actually going to go home and consume them. So it's actually healthy for you. I'm glad that you're going to drink it because it's not as if you're taking it to send or anything. You're just going to take it, dry it, and keep it for your own self. Mm-hmm. So it's only making the nation more
healthy.
More healthy. Hence the reason why I say, with this product, it's so holistic. You have to look at it as a bonus like that because the way that we're dealing with so much imports and all of this garbage that they're eating and drinking and all of that, you just want them to actually consume more of this shit. Because it's something going to make them healthier, especially the kids.
No, it's amazing for kids. Like I've seen a couple kids that like my partner's kids they're raised on Seamoss. They drink Seamoss every day, all the time. And the one thing I've noticed that's like consistent with a lot of kids that take Seamoss is one, they're super confident. They have no fear. They're just like whatever. And then two, they're just really smart and super aware of what's going on. They're so observant. They just, you know what I mean? They're just on it. Like, yeah. So I think it's great for
one
kids.
Thing I was trying to find out from a holistic doctor friend of mine is at what age you can start to administer the Seamoss to children. This is what we were trying to work out because is it when the child comes off of the breast and then they start taking soft foods? Because obviously with the Seamoss now you could get a bloody pear blended with the Seamoss and it gives the same it's the same text, that it's the same flavor, it's the same texture as you use apple as well. And what's that small, it's like a little pudding you give kids.
Pudding?
I forgot the name of it actually. But I actually made one the other day and I realized to myself, wow, you can make that and give that to little kids.
Oh, the little applesauce treats they give you. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
the Mott's applesauce, I think, or something.
That's the one. There you go. As a sauce. Because that's what most parents do. They'll go to the shop, they'll see the little thing, and that's an easy thing as a dessert to give a child.
Yeah.
But with that now, because the Seamoss complements anything that it fuses with, you don't even really taste the Seamoss. But what you would to the taste is the apple or the pear.
And the apple and pear, if you make this Seamoss yourself, putting the apple and the pear is kind of good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's just for us to work it now because I do see, which scares the hell out of me. I see a lot of Indians and Chinese trying to jump on the bandwagon, and I'm scared of those people, man, because their environment and their water is disgusting. I saw a woman from Indonesia actually advertising Seamoss, and I looked at the water from a distance, and I thought, this water looks black. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The Seamoss looks like our Seamoss, but I'm thinking, my God. And if you see how much Seamoss she was actually producing,
tons.
Looking at the water, I'm thinking, wow.
Tons. They produce a lot. I try not to talk negative
stuff coming out of the Philippines for dirt cheap. They produce a lot over there, but I just feel like it's all garbage.
Well, for us, like, you know what I mean, for to me on a human consumption level, it's not the best Seamoss. But a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the Seamoss is sold on the commercial market for products. You know what I mean? Like they use it in all kinds of healthcare products, all kinds of skincare products. They use it in all kinds of foods, vegan foods. You know what I mean? But they'll go and take the sea moss and like even in Philippines, I think there's like a facility that will take it and just take the raw sea moss and extract it for certain compounds like agar, or the carrageenan or the collagen in it. And then they don't really care about, you know what I mean? Like they're not worried about getting magnesium from it or phosphates or any of that shit. And so they tend to grow it really dense and stuff. There's videos on it, you know what I mean? Like you can Google it on YouTube. Seamoss Commercial Farms, Philippines.
Well, all them people be on up and down Alibaba selling it.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of those sources. Vietnam, the
yeah,
Philippines, China.
yeah.
You know.
So and that's where I think the sort of like pool grown sea moss, that's the source of it. I don't believe that they're really growing it in the pool. If they're doing anything in a pool, it's like they're using this, like they're propagating the starter ropes. But if you look at some of these farms, it's like they have, it's like, fuck, like miles. You know what I mean? Miles of farms.
Yeah, they're massive. They're massive.
Massive.
Like the overhead shots of them, they're massive.
Yeah. Like, you know what? We should even go on Google Earth and see if, you know what I mean? If I can find some of these farms and see, just show people sometimes how big it is. Because it's crazy, you know? You guys can't see it because you're on the clubhouse. But I don't know if you guys know, but I have a CMOS group that I'm the administrator, called the Seamoss Buyers Club on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm in there. I'm on that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in there. That's how I'm definitely in there.
Yeah, that's that's a group that I started. Andre, you as a cultivator, you want to be in that group to show people, like, you know what I mean, what you're selling and stuff like that. And
Well, yeah, I mean, I will eventually get into that. But because, as I said, I'm such at the infant stage in regards to, getting my plot organized and really just getting a good formula and all of that and learning. I didn't really necessarily want to jump into the aspects, because once you get into that trading and get into the aspects, it takes away from the beauty of it, which is enjoying what I'm enjoying at the moment. Because once I do what I'm doing and I do it correctly, all of the accolades and all of that other stuff will fall in line when it's time. Because this is, to me, it's a long-term thing.
yeah,
I'm in it for the long run. So I really want to take my time and before I jump into certain arenas, because I just don't want to get clouded with too much attention and people on me. Oh, they want to see I want to sell who I want to sell it to. I want to develop products behind it. It's a long-term thing. Because, it's a consumable product, so people will always need it. And they'll always need, and eventually, just like with anything, people will go seeking for the good shit. It's a bit like weed. You know what I mean? Commercial weed.
no, no, I totally understand it, and it's funny you bring it up because that's generally an analogy that I use for CMOS in general. This is the new health weed, because everybody has different types of weed. It grows differently every time. You got guys that are selling quality shit. You got guys that are selling bunk. You got guys that are like saying everybody thinks their CMOS is the best.
Yeah.
Just like weed, I got the best weed. You know.
But you know what? I think because, especially if you're cultivating it and you spend so much time in the water with the CMOS, you talk to your CMOS and you really genuinely love your CMOS. So by the time you go to harvest and you bring it out, the amount of time and energy you put into it, you can't not think that it's the best. Exactly what you've done to get it to that point A to point B to point C. You know what I mean? So the people that's actually on the ground, that's doing it right, that's hence the reason why I say we have to separate the good shit from the Indonesia and all of these other shit that we don't know where they're coming from. We have to separate them.
Yeah.
Because, we need that actually, because we can't have everybody in the same pool, because everybody's got different objectives.
Yeah.
And they come with different energy. And don't forget, CMOS is an energy thing. It's natural.
Mm-hmm.
So if your energy is not right, you're just going to be selling this rubbish. But if your energy is good, it transcends into your body and
No, I totally agree with that, and that's why a lot of times I say, like, what makes the sea moss that's coming out of the Caribbean as opposed to some of these industrial places is because these guys that are using the industrial places, they're using like machinery. They got all these employees and stuff like that. A lot of these guys probably hate their job, so all that anger and negativity gets translated in the product. Whereas, like someone like you who's doing it by hand and cultivating it, there's a lot of love and a passion that's in it. Yeah. And if there's one thing that I always need to stress is fucking sea moss farming, harvesting, diving, drying. It's hard work.
Work. Yep.
Hard work.
It's labor intensive.
Labor and super. I cannot get into because see, Andre, I don't know if I mentioned, but I've done every single aspect of the sea moss farming, from planting the sticks, like I was sticking in the ropes, sometimes till like 7 o'clock at night when it's dark, like there were sharks in the water, and I'm still putting sticks in. You know what I mean? To cutting the ropes, to putting the twine in the ropes. People have no idea how hard it is to put like say a thousand dozen, but a couple hundred pieces of twine. Like how many pieces of twine do you put on your 30-foot rope? Like one every 4 inches or something, right? Yeah. And so you got to put that twine in. Plus, you got to take the twine and make loops on every one of them. You know what I mean? And then you got to put the sea moss on them, loop the sea moss. Like, fuck. It's like- and
Does it ever break off once it's tied on?
Yes.
Or does it stay locked into the rope?
No, it breaks all the time. Even Andre was saying earlier, he lost his farm like 2-3 times, and that's the kicker, right? These guys don't realize that like a lot of times these farmers are losing ropes, they're losing lines, they get tangled. You know what I mean? If you put them too close together, you know what I mean. One sea moss will jump on the other, and then it's like the rope is fucked. Like there's no fixing it. You know what I mean? Like I wish I could show a picture of what these knots look like. Because the ocean will imagine, like sometimes the ocean will twist it so many times that the rope will just burst because it's been twisted like a million times to the point where it just breaks.
And the sea is unforgiving. You'd be surprised how powerful that bloody sea is. Man.
Yes.
It's like, and when I had my third incident, I spoke to a friend of mine, and it was like they had a barge and they had some other stuff that they were doing independent from like Seamoss, but they were dealing with the sea. He said to me that they had some major problems with that particular storm that came. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, if a barge or if something heavier that can sustain itself more in the water than my light ropes or my PVC piping, then that, what I'm doing is nothing, because a bloody barge in order to get stuff that moved around.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to what I'm doing with this small little plot there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, I really, really have to make sure that I just take my time, spend my time down there, understand the sea, look how it's moving, and just simplify it instead of trying to be too rigid with it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just like I think Bruce Lee was saying, you're gonna go with the water. Is that what he said? Bend with the water. Or, what's that saying Bruce Lee was saying with the water? Something with the water.
Who, me?
No, Bruce Lee.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with it.
He said he liked the water.
He liked the water, exactly.
Yeah, but you gotta fit into a bowl or a dish or whatever. That's what he said regarding that.
Exactly. So, but yeah, man, it's hard work. But at the same time, if you enjoy doing it,
it feels like nothing. I know.
It feels like nothing, you know what I mean? But there's so much potential for it, and for everybody to link up and for us to live good. Because instead of having these little wars, because you can't produce enough, especially in the Caribbean. Us in the Caribbean should definitely be linking up and really trading and doing business in that aspect, because we can't produce enough.
No. Listen, I had a meeting once with a guy that was in the government, and he told me even if we cultivated every single available inch of sea moss, like areas where it can be cultivated, he's like, it's still it wouldn't even touch 1% of the total market. Like a lot of people think that there's there's not a lot of Seamoss and this and that, and a lot of the reasons why they think that is because their space is kind of limited. You know what I mean? Like they're only looking in their group or to their network and this and that. But there's like I was talking to a Seamoss farmer in St. Lucia the other day, and the guy, like, I was kind of saying, "Oh, I'm worried about, the product. This might go out because the weather." He's like, "Bro, I know people that are sitting on like thousands of pounds." He's like, "You'd be shocked the amount of Seamoss that is out there." You know, so there is a how do you say it? There is a big supply, there is a big demand, but you're right. For each other, not sort of actually work together to build an industry.
Because I mean the wholesale aspects of Seamoss, to me, it's more of a kind of hustle.
Yeah.
Because there's so much other byproducts that you can from that to stretch it. Just like I said,
Yeah.
you can sell the ounces, you can sell the keys, or you can break it down. You can sell grams. By selling grams, meaning that you produce various different products from it, whereas with the soap, or with the pills, or with there's various different things that you can come up with. That on how you think and the resources that you've got around you, and market that and eat from that, because everybody that you're selling it to wholesale, especially people that's outside, this is exactly what they're doing. They're taking it and breaking it down. Yep. Because they need the raw material, and this is what our problems have always been. As black people, we're always taking our raw materials and give it away so people can break it down and come up with these fantastic products for us to buy back.
Yep. Facts.
I mean, because Grenada is a typical example of that. We gave away so much of our cocoa, we give away our nutmeg, and we've got some of the high strains of cocoa, nutmeg, and produce from this soil here, because we're relatively untouched. We're relatively, we're not over farmed, so everything that comes out of the soil here is really rich. Yep. Instead of us taking our time and getting factories and various other, aspects of these products, we're selling them in bulk, and people will come and make chocolate for me. They will come back from Europe, come here, make chocolate, and sell it back to us in the shop. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's madness. Crazy how the governments think and how the school system thinks to make the kids, think in that sense, because they're not thinking. There's no critical thinking within the school system. They're not thinking when we come out that I got black stage here. Let's get the black stage, break it down, package it, put a few leaves, put it in a package, and send it out. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going on. True. And people need things like that, black stage is good for the blood. Mm-hmm. Good for cleaning the blood. And it's only when we leave the Caribbean is when we crave anything from our back home. You understand? As soon as you hear anything from back home, you're jumping on it. Exactly. Yeah, when are you gonna bring this for me, bring that for me, bring that for me. So I don't know, man. But it's interesting coming back home to see all of that. And we need more people to return back home to start developing from here to the out. So we start bringing in foreign currency. And this is what Seamoss has got a good healthy. It's all about that foreign currency, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm in Grenada. I could easily do business in Canada. That's Canadian currency. I do business in America. I do business in the UK. I do business in various parts of Europe. I can even still do business as well in the Caribbean. Yeah. Depending on what I develop from the Seamoss. Because I can develop a product that nobody else is. And infuse it. Because I saw, is it Todd? You, yes. Reading a bio there that says that it's sort of the infusion. Working on infusion is developing products from the infusing. Yeah. So are you working with an herbalist, or are you an herbalist? No, I'm working with one of the founding members from Neutrogena helped to put our bases together. Oh, okay. So that's where like if you go on the site, there's a lotion, there's a oil, bath salts, but I mean we got a lot of. We made a chapstick from it from Seamoss gel. So it's there's a few things in the pipeline.
But that's what we're on. Like what you were saying earlier is more of the niche market and some of the derivative products that you can make from Seamoss.
Yeah, because I'm actually working with an aromatherapist right now that's trying to do some synergies with it. So, waiting for her to get back to me. We're trying to do that. I need to work 3 or 4 different such and stuff. And to bring on the market instead of just as a kit, just selling it as a raw product. I prefer to
the aromatherapist, does she specialize in like putting essential oils and stuff together to come up with different scents?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we're probably going to get into face masks and all of that, the new for it because it's a topical as well as an internal product.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us are just focusing on the internal. But the topical
the face mask is huge. The face mask is big.
There are so many products that this can be made into, and you're right. Too many people are just focusing on just the Seamoss or the Seamoss gel, but there's the skin, the shampoo. You know what I mean? Like I'm feeling popsicles or.
We have a lotion too. That's what Asia, our company has on the
Mm. Is that Seamoss lotion or is it a Seamoss lotion or is it a CBD? Because I know you mentioned CBD. You're in.
Yeah. So what it is, there's a lotion that's just the gel and like a lotion base with the gel added, and then there's one which is the same thing with 1,000 CBD in it and 16 ounces.
1,000 milligrams.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I can't.
I was looking into the CBD, but unfortunately, our government we constantly keep putting it off, and so in terms of developing anything, especially for the local market, people need local for allowing your product to blow up and then selling it out. You know what I mean? Because it's like a test run, really, for the product. But over here now, they don't allow anything to do with weed. The old products.
Even CBD? Do you know anything?
Even CBD, because I had a friend of mine in Jamaica, and that's what he was doing. Growing weed and extracting, doing hashish, doing all kind of different things. So obviously, me and him are speaking, and I say to him, look, can you do an experiment with the Seamoss to infuse both of them, blah blah blah? And he said, yeah, but obviously I was stuck in that respect because I couldn't get it in here. I couldn't even get it back over here.
I think things are going to change down there in the Caribbean. They'll be behind what's going on here and a couple of Trinidad actually just had their medical thing. And even some of their, like, I think it's the daughter of one of the governor, or it's certain political figures that their stuff in place involved in Trinidad. You know what I mean? So I think it will especially the medical side of it, which is the CBD,
I know St. Vincent have they've definitely opened up that conversation, and they've got a couple of stores where we can do the product, which is cool because you don't get high for THC on the levels. And you see, this is something that they understand that, but you've got the US other entities, European entities that's fighting they're fighting against that, so they're budgeting. So whatever budget that they get to fight the war against drugs, it's much more beneficial for them to do that than to actually open up the market, which is a huge problem. But we're trying to get the old guard out because once the old folks go out, they don't want to give up.
Yeah.
80, 90, 100 stuff. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm definitely trying to work on some and develop some of them things, and it takes time to do that. And that's the reason why I say I really don't want to rush. I want to just make sure we have some good, decent products that we can put on the shelf that we're making, we're controlling, not these bloody Indians and the Chinese and stuff, and coming and selling it back to us. I just can't do that. But that's what they do in Jamaica, for example.
Yeah.
Like, my friend was over there, and he's actually St Lucian as well.
Oh, yeah.
God knows how he ended up being living in Jamaica for a couple of years, but he's a smart guy, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He comes with some people over there, and they, But me and him, we rap every week, and he's one of the things that he did say to me. He said, Andre, even down to the business, a lot of that stuff you probably see that's got Jamaica the stamp on it. None of it is coming from Jamaica. A lot of the stuff that they would import into Jamaica, put the stamp on it, and then export it back out because, with the world trade, it makes it easier and it's cheaper for them to get stuff from outside, bring it in, and then repackage it and send it back out.
Yeah, well, that's where they got they have free trade zones where that's like, you know what I mean? You could bring that in and you don't have to pay any duty to the government area and employ their people. It's pretty,
So he's basically what's the item that we're drinking. So that's been going on in London for a while. We've highlighted us that's been selling products that say Jamaica on it and nothing so.
Yeah.
They're not even Jamaican, so we've been sort of banging them out and trying to buy up. Because we know the England's already. They want our money, but they're not really spending that with us like that on that level. So, it's like them big sharks in the sea. You'll see these little parasites. They're just there. They serve a little purpose, but really they're just sucking the fucking life out. So, So I said, that's
No, I was just gonna say, we kind of allow it to happen, and that's sort of my argument. A lot of times when people are like this, and I'm not saying this like judge you or attack you, but I just feel like this is, or let me rephrase it this way: this is why it's important for us as Black people to see the importance of us working together for a greater cause, so that we can build up each other and teach people things. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we do enough to our fellow culture to sort of help and support each other. And if we did more of that, then more people would be blessed, and then those people can pass the blessing. It's almost like we're stopping the flow of our what could come to us because we're giving enough to each other, if that makes sense. We all expect something in return. What are you going to do for me if I do this for you? But sometimes you just got to do things, and not like when I do things for people, I never ever expect it to come back from them. Ever. I don't do that, because you'll always be disappointed. The blessings don't come from them. They come from from behind you or to the side or wherever. You know what I mean? So you give them what's in front of you, but the blessings will come, but they won't come from that person.
It's definitely a generational thing. I think as we're moving forward, actually doing a little bit different than our parents with us, because they didn't have time, with all due respect.
Yeah.
The shit that they had to deal with and all of that, basically put a roof over our heads, send us to school, and do the base in that respect. Not a lot of Black parents had the opportunity to really sit down and school their kids on a different aspects of it, because they didn't really know much different. Because don't forget, we're in the age of technology now. They didn't have their computers. They didn't have the social media. They didn't have the level of information that we've been exposed to them.
Yeah.
So really, it is going to change. But anything, it's going to take a while before everybody gets it and starts to manifest it within their household. The reason we had hurricane here in 2004, and the people were astonished how Grenada, as a small island, managed to recover so quick. They thought that it's probably because we were so together. No, we wasn't so together. What everybody did was everybody cleaned up their house. We didn't all necessarily get to come and fix this house and fix that house. No, everybody got up and they fixed their bloody house. So what happened is, by the end of the week or the end of the month or the end of the year, everybody's house on the road would be clean, so the whole place would get cleaned. And this is what generally needs to happen. People need to fix their house. Don't worry about what someone else is doing in theirs. You take care of your kids and you take care of your house. You school them the right way, and don't worry about trying to fix everybody, because we can't fix everybody.
No.
Because even you look at the other nations that quote unquote seem like they're together, internally they got turmoil. The Indians turmoil, all of the Israelis turmoil, the Europeans turmoil, but they have that common goal, which is they take care of their shit in aggregate, and they, each they undertake to start coming on. And that this is the road that we're going down. No matter if we have a little argument outside, we're all going to go down that same road. And that, I think we just need to focus on taking care of our homes, taking care of our kids, and making sure that they're good, send them out there. And when they all go out there, they're all going to have the same conversations, because they've all been kind of given the same pattern. So, yeah, so it's just going to take time. 400 years of captivity, it's going to take a minute. And this is what people don't understand, that it's not going to happen in our generation, unfortunately. But it will happen eventually. Yeah. And as a man, because Gabi said there'll be a few of us left, but we're strong. So
I think we need to let go of a lot of things, because like one of the things you brought up was that 200 years of captivity, but lots of races have been slaves. You know what I mean? The Indians were slaves for a long time. Irish people were slaves. Why is it that they've been able to, I guess, move on and we haven't?
One of the reasons, and I've history is one of my loves, in the sense of I've kind of gone through all different aspects of it to find out the same question that you're asking. And one thing I can tell you, that there was a treaty made by all of the nations to specifically hold us down. It's not like we're any different from them, because we're unique to the way that we are. But they specifically, and if you look at all of the different aspects of how they can restrain us and keep us in our place, economically, socially, they found creative ways to do it. Like, for example, when they left the Caribbean, they left the laws, because they created this. This is why when people see white people in the Caribbean and they see them so freely and happy and moving around, they get a bit confused, but they don't understand. Don't forget who brought us here in that respect, to a certain degree. Some of us, you understand?
Yeah.
And they created the laws and they created the infrastructure. And it's the same laws and it's the same infrastructure that we're under. Because don't forget, we're under their jurisdiction wherever we turn. Because a queen is just always going to live around. So what I'm trying to say to you is, it doesn't matter where we go left, where we go right, we're still within their system.
Yeah.
Whether it's spiritually, economically, socially, on all aspects, we're within, their system. And when I was saying to you earlier on about us eating their foods and thinking that we're one of us, we've actually been brainwashed to actually believe that we're all one, when that is not really the case, because we were the first here, and we can have to go into all of that, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So we just need to get that together and understand that, you know what, we can't blame ourselves directly, because there is a machine working to constantly fuck us.
That I agree, and to me, that's probably more damaging being a slave. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, God, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, being a slave, you're free. You're you know what I mean? You're energetic. It's like, I got my freedom. Let's go. I'm ready to go. But then to hit the wall and have all this shit where everything's stacked against you, that I get. Do you know what I mean? That I can see why. And I do see how in some ways, you know what I mean, the thing can be stacked against us. But then that's why we need to work together, to work smarter, to fix these things. Because a lot of the reasons why these guys were able to do this is because they were put into power. Like, why are we not pushing more to be, counselors or civils? Like, we should be voting if we see a black, I would do that, honestly. As well, let me rephrase this. If I saw someone in my, if there was 5 candidates or 3 candidates or whatever, and one of them was black, and I thought the black person was competent and good, I definitely. And I think more people need to do that and support us, so that we can get into these people to change the rules and make it more, because to me, life is a game, and it's like a lot of the people that I see complaining about life is because they haven't learned how to play the game right. Do you know what I mean? And for me, I feel like You know what I mean? I've learned somewhat how to play the game where color doesn't affect me. Like I don't see color. You know what I mean? Because I've you know what I mean? I've learned the rules on how to get around that and get past that, so that color is not a factor when people look at me. You know, like a lot of people don't even think I'm black.
You mentioned about the color thing, because, and when you were saying about voting for someone because they might be black, we've got a lot of black people, what we call them coconuts.
Yes.
They're very much black on the outside, but they're blind because it boils down to your consciousness.
Yes.
If your mind isn't clear right, you are worst enemies, and this is one of the major problems that we've got right now. Look at it, for example, going on in sense, I will refer back to England as such, because that's where I got my roots from in that respect.
Yeah.
We've got, when I was there, the late 70s, going through to the 80s, 90s, and up to the 2000s, I managed to get out. The Caribbean people that were going through, we paved the way for example, the Africans.
Mm-hmm.
When they started to immigrate, because Africans started to come in later, way afterwards. And when the Africans started to come in, you're going to find, if you look in the forefront of a lot of the societies, whether it be music, whether it be politics, whether it be a lot of things, you'll see a lot of Africans being pushed into certain aspects because they assimilate to the systems a lot more. Because don't forget, coming from Africa, you haven't through what we went through throughout the slave trade and going through the drama that we would have went through with the Caucasians, with the Europeans. It's a different kind of colonization because you still retain your roots, you still retain a lot of stuff before you came over. So a lot of them now have been pushed to the forefront because as far as they see, they're better than us.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of them ethos and how they grew up. They're very money oriented. Hence the reason why we had a problem back in the days where a lot of us was given away because it was money. Just like the culture of the Indians. The Indian culture is about money and status and a caste system. You don't have money, you ain't got shit. So what they'll find, they've got people that look like us, they act like us when it suits them, but the bottom line of it is that they will sell us out in a pocket.
Yes.
And I'm sitting away from England now, all of these years. I've lived in the Caribbean and looking in now, I'm thinking, wow, look how everybody has been put into place and it's all been reversed. Like in London right now, like the music industry, it's all been taken over by Africans now. But who paved the way? It was the Jamaican, the reggae artists, all that paved the way. When Africans put it up, they infused all the music together. Boom. And then they come now and they've been pushed to the forefront. Now, if you look at a lot of the, and I'm only referring to London, if you look at a lot of the gangs and a lot of the things that's going on, the warfares and all of that, you'll always see an African name, be a strong African name behind you. You think, what the hell's going on here, man? You're not supposed to be known better because our generation be below us right now, as elders now, and we're looking at what the fuck is wrong with you? They're killing each other like crazy. It's just a madness that's going on. Because their mindset is easier for them to assimilate and for them to be confused with what's going on. Because social media and all of that with this Instagram and all of that sort of stuff, if you don't know how to control it, it can actually catalyst you into making stupid decisions and doing a set of stupid shit. Because right now, this new generation have got information overload.
Yeah.
So they really don't know how to process what's coming to them. Whereas we now, I remember not having a mobile phone. I remember having to wait until I get home to get a call. You understand? I waited 2 days before I get my call. Listen to the answer machine. And be very content with that.
Yeah.
But this generation now, everything is instant. This is why everything is going quick for them. They're having a very quick life now. Not a lot of them are not living long.
No.
Not a lot of them are
No, true.
They're just not going to make it. Do you know what I mean? And it's not just that they won't make it physically, the 9 times out of 10 they won't make it. It's the shit that they go through. They don't give a shit about anything. But the point I'm trying to make to you is that they found the people who to push in the forefront, especially within our culture, because they have no sense of history. They have no sense of, like, don't you know what happened to you before? Like, what the fuck are you doing now? So, reason what you were talking about, the unity. Because we're supposed to have more unity now.
Yeah.
Because we understand what's happened. But we haven't. We've got less unity now than we did. You notice? Everybody's divided. It's like everybody's. Look at what the vaccine, for example. You would have thought that black people would keep the fuck away from this shit because, you know that these people are trying to exterminate all the time. Look what's happening in South Africa. The new variant. They're experimenting on it. Because the Boers, the Afrikaners, were the ones who invented or made AIDS prevalent because they were trying to kill out as blacks as they want. They can. But it didn't backfire them. It didn't work to the extent that what they thought it might work. So now I'm hearing the new variant is in South Africa. How the fuck did they get from China to over there now? It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I find it interesting too that just right around the time that everybody was saying, "Oh, Africa's got no vaccine," it's almost like they watch the news and they're like, "Oh, is this what everybody thinks? Okay, let's fuck this up right now." And do you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden now the virus attacks kids when before they were like, "Oh, well, kids don't need vaccine." Oh, they don't, do they? Okay, let's change that. I really think a lot of it is, yeah, probably population control, but more money. I think that humans behave a certain way under certain conditions, and what we're seeing is the result of the reaction to the conditions that they're in. And mainly, a lot of these people's reactions are all either like legacy based, where they're worried about protecting their name and their reputation, or it's financially based, where they're either getting some kind of bonus or they want to, you know what I mean, gain some kind of advantage, like a job later on by siding with what this person says. Because you got to ask, like, who comes these ideas and these information? You know what I mean? It just says, okay, we're going to go with this, and then everybody down the line has to kind of toe the. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's a whole breakdown right now, and as I said, if you're sleeping, because they talk about this awoke culture.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. These awoke cultures, the people that just click onto the information over, they've realized, okay, right, this has happened. But you have to got different things over the past 20 to 25 years, up to 30 years, and be awake.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between being awoke and being awake. Awoke means that you just woke up the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Being awake means now that you've been doing this shit and conscious for the past 25 years.
Yeah,
for the past 30 years. And you've been observing all of the different changes, so economically, politically, you see all of the changes that's led up to now. And to be quite honest, I'll be straight. I never ever thought that this would happen in my generation.
No.
I turned 30 in May.
Oh, nice. I'm 46.
I never thought that they would have turned the switch in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And implemented the old system that they wanted to implement. I never thought that would happen.
Yeah, it's scary down the pipeline, you know what I mean, especially growing up in a Christian family where, I remember on Friday nights going to the church to watch these movies where they were talking about Armageddon, the mark of the beast, and it's like it's pretty scary. It if they really needed to implement some kind of body tag or something to like it's almost intimate. Do you know what I mean? Like soon they're gonna have this justification where it's like, no, we need to track everybody and we need to do this, and the blockchain and stuff. Blockchain, while it's good in some aspects, it's gonna be a killer. Like you want to talk about Big Brother. If I have control of the blockchain and I know what everybody's address is and all that stuff, I can literally watch what you guys are doing. Like there's no hiding because you can't hack that. You know what I mean? You can't hack technologies. So we should change we should change the topic a bit because I know we've gotten a little bit off.
Sorry, man, I'm not disrespecting.
No topic, and I doing this, but hey, I thought this was supposed to be about Seamoss.
But it is. No, because this whole surrounds around city quality. You consume money healthy, stay true.
True.
And especially on a spiritual level, because this is what this product is about. It's a spiritual product. So, because don't forget, we don't know when we're going to die, but what we want to do is have a great day every day. This is what this helps us do. It makes us get up in the morning and have a great day, because we don't know if we're going to live till next week. But every day, have a good day, boils down to holistic. It's all one, man. And Seamoss plays no matter how you might come from.
True. Raise some good points. But
what about is it Mary?
yeah, Yancy and Mary, I know you guys have been on the stage for a while. Are you guys there? Do you have any questions about Seamoss or anything like that? Did you want to get a chance to speak? I know me and Andre have been just going back and forth for a bit.
No, I'm just listening and taking notes. That's all.
Cool.
But I've been taking Seamoss for about 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to the doctor and had all my lab work and stuff done, and all of them was in the normal range. So I'm convinced it works.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I feel it definitely works. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get introduced to Seamoss.
Did you say?
I said, how did you get introduced to Seamoss? Like, how did you find out?
How did I find it? I'm not. It might be.
Sorry, I was asking you how you get introduced to Seamoss. You learn about it. What was your experience first trying it? That kind of thing.
Well, I have been studying and I've been listening to ever since I was a baby, and I have been reading about it and Seamoss, and the doctor had told me that I was diabetic, and I'm like, I'll do natural. I changed my diet, and I started taking Seamoss, and I was good.
Cool. And so your doctor is showing, like, from the lab work, he's saying that things have been like, have you been getting an improvement since taking this? Well, I guess, did you take any tests before you took the Seamoss and then afterwards, or was it after taking the Seamoss? I know. Sometimes I think where I'm at, the reception's not the best. What are your doctor's thoughts about taking Seamoss?
I never told him.
Oh, you haven't told?
No, I was actually I was seeing for my last test result. I said the next 3 months. I've taken it and to see what the result is going to be different, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
If you don't mind me asking you, Mary, where did you get your Seamoss?
I ordered it from let me see. I can tell you exactly where. See. Order it. place it is. But I didn't realize, until I started to research, like, oh, they got some in Tanzania, they got some in Grenada,
Yeah, man,
wow.
There's so many other Caribbean islands than they do Seamoss. It's just that, as I said, St Lucia was, to me, the first. And then we're going back, Julien, you probably went to 91 this, but I think you go back from since 1987. I saw a documentary when they documented the cultivation of, especially on that level, of Seamoss, because I think back in the 80s, you lot had a problem with over cultivate, over
harvesting.
And then eventually you lot had to come up with the concept of, this new concept of growing the Seamoss. I think that came from St Lucia.
Yep. Have you seen that technical manual that they have on the different forms and the ways to kind of do the rafts and how to do the twine and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've done my research. I've got that. I've got some paperwork on that. I got some stuff. Where did I get that from? Someone actually gave that to me.
Yeah.
It gave me like a little booklet, and that's hence the reason why I could go back and say from the 80s, and the different progressions that St Lucia's had. From over harvesting, you lot dive so much, you lot took out the Seamoss out of the ground. So eventually you had to come up with another way of doing it, which is that way. So we're actually following your pattern.
Yeah, no, and it's a good manual to read. Actually, one of the people in the book I'm friends with, and that's when he kind of first started in the Seamoss farming, and then he's still farming to this day, which is like what? That's 20, 40 something years.
Picture of this black and white picture.
Yeah, is there a way for you to put? Well, I guess you'd have to make it your profile to show the picture. I don't know if I could show it.
So in other words, okay, it's only you that can post stuff up to see.
Well, I don't know. I think you could post the links. You can post links to stuff, but I don't think you can actually post things. Can you? I can make you a moderator if that gives you the ability um, to share pictures. Yeah, I only see pinning a link. Nothing else. That.
Okay. Europeans and these Indians and these other people, because they don't have a love for anything. They will sell us anything. That's the problem. These people are just not. There's no love for them. There's no love. They have no love for us.
No, they don't.
And because we've got the market to a certain degree where we're actually out there now. We can actually focus on just supporting our own. It doesn't matter which island. So it could be Jamaica, it could be, because you'll find a good source within any country, you'll find a bad source in any country. You're just going to find the right source where you're comfortable, because don't forget, this thing is being consumed, going into your body. So, yeah, it's just like... And I'm a living...
You're what? Sorry?
I'm a living witness that it does make a difference. Because I had done my lab work 3 months ago. My body was off and I came back after I took the Seamoss and I changed my diet, and majority of my lab work was normal. And I'm 54 years old, and he was like, you're in good health, no high blood pressure, no cholesterol, none of that. Could be 54, yeah.
Do you see what I was saying earlier on, Julien, when I was saying about it's not just the Seamoss, it's about changing your diet as well. It's about changing other aspects of it.
Yeah. And I juice, and I went on a juice diet for like 3 weeks. I just smoked nothing but juice and fruit. So, and the diet, and you can literally feel yourself. Your
Oh yeah.
But we used our people so used to going to McDonald's super size. They eat brunch and dinner, and it's gonna be hard for them. Sometimes I only eat one meal a day. I'm training my body to the point that I don't eat like I used to. I don't even eat the food that I used to eat, and I don't crave it. I don't buy it. I don't have it in my house, so it comes natural. You know, just like today, I did my fruit, I did my juices, and I made bottles of it for the whole week, and that's my breakfast. I do smoothies, and like you say, you're just taking a sea moss and don't change diet. It's just like you put dirty water in a clean glass. It's not gonna work. It's not.
That's true.
So you have to change. You know, get up in the morning time. I go to work and I like, oh my stuff. I just feel good by myself. I get up and I clean myself and I go to work and look like I'm going out somewhere, but I'm just going to work because this is how I feel. You feel good from the inside out. That's what we did. You know, and people will go and buy $300 Jordan, $200 outfit, but then they put junk inside their body. So I'm just the opposite. I just take care of myself on the inside, and then it shows on the outside. Yes. So.
Truth.
But I was just listening to you guys just talking, and I'm taking notes. So.
Awesome.
But I would love to get with you all to get the good Seamoss.
Cool.
And hopefully I can get it in time for Christmas. It's kind of late, but I do my best. And when you can give me the website and something to go to try to get it.
Are you selling? Are you exporting Seamoss yet, Andre? Or
No, I mean I've got Seamoss, but I just haven't started because you see with down here it's a process in the sense of you can't just ship Seamoss out. You have to go to the Bureau standards. There's a process, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay, well I have enough. I can wait.
Of course,
I can wait, and I can, I'm gonna keep doing. I got, like I said, I bought 4 bags from her, and I have 3 left, and I'm giving out some for Christmas. But people love to celebrate Valentine, Mother's Day, whatever they do. I have it. I'll wait on you all to do this.
Yeah, definitely.
What?
As soon as I get on track, I get these little fine prints out of the way.
What about you? Sorry, Andre. Go ahead. I thought you were done.
No, go on. I finished.
Because I know a lot of guys. I see them on their smooth talker. I got the best. I was like, no. But I listen to them and I'm taking notes. I'm good at taking notes and I'm good at listening.
Yes, that's important.
It just like no. They just trying to make a sale, and I'm old enough to know, and I can distinguish between the two. I'm like, no. You're talking too fast. You don't even know. And after this fun, we help this because I haven't read up on this. They can't even tell you. So if you have to be your own customer at time. Just like drug addict. I mean, a drug dealer become a drug addict because he uses it on product. He knows it's good or bad. He can tell you.
Yeah.
But they selling this Seamoss and they can't tell you.
No. So.
Stay away. Stay away. But
No, true. So, hey, Todd, are you selling Seamoss or Yancey? Because we can definitely hook you up with Seamoss, even, and then when you're gonna probably end up getting into the business, and when you're by then, you could reach out to Andre and you guys can team up together, and You know what I mean? He can export the Seamoss to you and stuff.
No, I get Seamoss from St Lucia.
Mm-hmm.
I just get it and go and fly it over, do like customs and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the raw Seamoss, and then gels with like certain additives, and then some of those cosmetic products.
Cool. And you have the link in your website right there, right? Infinity Cultivation Solution. Right?
No, the one in the paragraph, obvious Seamoss.
Obvious Seamoss. So there you go, Mary. Take down his website, go his URL, check out his website, and you could probably order from him because he's already got it in the States right now. And if
That's
he,
right.
yeah, you could.
The Seamoss.
It should be hot. You have to go into his profile and then
Okay.
Yeah,
the information.
obvious AFYA Seamoss.
What's Ophsia means?
Okay, yeah.
What
Okay,
What does Ophia mean? Like, is there a meaning
It
to?
means health. It means health in Swahili.
Oh, cool.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that's it. So there you go. You got not only your questions answered, but you got linked up with a good seller. Where are you from, St. Lucia? Do you know what area it's from, or?
From down there, so I met a couple farmers down there in February on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they're located. It's the guy and his cousin, and they're located around Viewport. Their farm is like on the I want to say like the southeast end of the island.
Yeah.
So from Viewport, you would go up north and kind of to the east, go up the coast.
By Coconut Bay there.
Huh?
By the stadium there, right?
Yeah, so not the name of the bay because I haven't been down there, but I just looked at it on the map. But that's where they're located at.
Cool. I might even know them because that's where our Seamoss is. It's area they call it Bois Chadon.
What? Say it again.
Bois Chadon.
Yeah. Okay.
It means stands for lot. It's Creole for lots of sea eggs because in that area, it's known for having sea eggs. Like some of the best sea moss grows in these areas where all the sea urchins are and stuff like that, and lobsters and the other crustaceans. And, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they feed off of that. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's interesting when you dive and when you see the sea egg latch onto Seamoss, like stuff that's broken off.
Yeah.
You see them nibbling away. It's nice, man. You know what I mean? To see them latching on and just nibbling.
Yeah. Seamoss provides so much life for the ocean. Like people don't realize it. Like if that thing were to go away or be depleted, it would severely affect the natural balance of the water there. Like it even fuck, what was I gonna say about Seamoss? Never mind. I forgot it. I was gonna say something and then another thought came in and knocked it out. Yeah, I know. I hate when it happens.
Yeah, but one thing I've noticed, going back to Mary, the Seamoss really attracts the more of the mature end of things because when you're younger, your body works for you. When you get older, as you get older, you have to work for your body. Your body demands you work for it. Hence, you're changing up your diet and changing up your lifestyle, and reducing certain things. Those things that you were doing in your 20s, you surely can't do it in your 40s and 50s because your body just can't handle it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, so the more the mature people, because the younger buds, they're not really interested in that because they're happy, they're good, their bodies function. But as I said, as you get older now, you tend to look for things that's going to help your body to function like when you're younger. And that's definitely something that Seamoss does once you change up your diet. It just helps you be more holistic in your approach to life. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing, man.
I also believe that it helps you vibrate at higher frequencies.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel like my spiritual level or like understanding or awareness or whatever you want to call it is like off the charts now that I consume so much Seamoss compared to how I felt like say a year before I started taking Seamoss. Yeah, for sure.
And then also as well, I've noticed, like you would assume that you could consume it every single day, like 7 days in a week. But ideally, just like with anything, you do 5 days in a week, you take a couple of days off and let your body settle.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the amount that you take as well, because you can't overdo it, as in consume more than the daily recommended amount.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is just a balance and a science to it, because and that's where you really feel the benefits. Monday to Friday, yeah, you drink it, you consume it, whatever. Especially if you're working out and stuff, it's really good for as well. But take a couple of days off, and then you hit that back on Monday and stuff as well, and then your body starts to appreciate it more. Because your body, you take anything too much, your body just starts to get used to it, and you don't feel it because it's a mental as well as a physical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it all transfers from the mind first and it goes out to the body. So, body and soul. But I'm glad to hear that it's a good testimony that you're giving there, that it's working like that. That you're getting benefits that you're looking for out of it. Because your kind of testimonies, especially for our black women, because they're stubborn. They're very stubborn in terms of the diet and stuff. And you see, like, if they were to consume, you're laughing, it's true. If they were to consume,
it's just got like, yeah, it is what it is. Y'all stubborn. That is what it is. Yeah.
No, they're very stubborn. They're very stubborn in their ways of things. And as I say, because Seamoss helps with hair growth as well.
Oh, yeah.
Helps with growth. If a lot of them were to, consume it a bit younger, what I mean by a bit younger, really more get into that aspects of it, and they would get the benefits and the results from their hair, and less breakage and less all of the complaints that they have. You know what I mean? That's the reason why they're doing so much different things and spending billions of dollars on these products when we've got something right here that could help them to, because it starts from inside. It doesn't start from outside.
Right.
I don't care what oils you put in your hair, the hair grows from inside your body. So you get that shit right and you're good to go. So, it's important that they jump on this thing as well. And as you said, it reduces your, I wouldn't say reduces your appetite, but it reduces your urges. Because if, for example, the sea moss is giving us the minerals that our body needs, the daily recommended minerals that our body needs, that means we're not going to have the urges for the junk foods, for the sweets, for the this, for the that, for the that.
Agreed.
So the end result would mean that our bodies are going to be functioning at a higher level. Because that's one of the problems. We're not getting enough nutrients in our body based on all of the bullshit that we're eating. That's why people are indulging in all kind of snacks and all kind of nonsense that they don't really need to consume. Because I found that since I've started consuming Seamoss at that level, I don't snack as much on nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get the odd time where you want to have the little thing, the little thing that you crave, but in general, I don't really have the appetite to want to eat more than I'm supposed to.
I barely eat one meal a day. Like when you talked about that, Mary, it brought back a lot of memories because I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm just not hungry. And like you said, Andre, I believe it's because the sea moss has fulfilled or satisfied all the anything that I was lacking. It was fulfilled by the sea moss, you know?
Yeah, I worked pretty much all day one day, and I had to think, did I eat? Because I was just like,
Yeah.
just full and just going energy levels up, and I didn't realize that I had ate anything. But
and your body finds you drink more water as well. Because if you don't feeling hungry or feel thirsty, because most of the time we're dehydrated and not hungry, but we get confused. And the foods that we're eating is tripping our brains and it's making us think that we're hungry. But no, it's just a glass of water you might need. You know what I mean? And then the less you eat, the more your organs function better because less pressure is on them. Because as I said, the stubbornness of a lot of us, not just our women, men as well as women, a lot of us are overweight. And we might look healthy from the outside, and some of them are skinny, but they're still fat inside because their arteries and their lungs and everything is got a lot of pressure internally, but you can't see. Hence the reason why you see people just dying off early. They're not living a healthy life. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. Yeah, that's good though, man. That's very good. But anyway, it's 12:51. I've got to go. I don't know when you guys are going to be back on.
I tried. Sorry, go ahead, Andre. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was just saying. I don't know when you guys are going to be back on. When we're gonna. I suppose I have to look out for you on Facebook for when we're gonna have the next discussion.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to schedule these things on Sundays and Wednesdays. Those are usually my days where I know like I'm like if I'm in the warehouse I can like work as I'm doing. Like this whole time I've been packing Seamoss as we've been talking. I don't know if you kept hearing the machine going every once in a while. But yeah, so I try to do it while I'm here doing work, and so I'll do it in the evenings, more or less around 9 o'clock, and like these things it really goes as late as everybody wants it. I mean today it seems like there wasn't a lot of people, but I've been in this room, I've been doing the show and gone like 5 hours talking to yeah, sometimes we'll go as late as 3 in the morning or so. I think that was the longest I did. We did 3:30 in the morning. We started at 8:30 or 9:30. So but it was like me, and I think it was Moss King, and then there was another guy. There was Ricky Ray from Gold Seamoss, Ricky Ray's Ocean Gold Seamoss, which are all big sellers in the States. So it was like a lot of us. It was a lot of like industry talking and stuff, like our experiences in the Seamoss business and stuff. But I think it's important if you can join us on the next live and stuff because I think I've been trying to get some of my own friends that are farmers to come on and talk. A lot of them don't want to be, I guess, to put them. They like being in the shadows. You know what I mean? They don't want to put themselves out there. But I think it's important to have someone that has the experience, besides myself, of what it's like to go farming, so that we can illustrate the work that's involved and the effort. Because these guys, like, I'm constantly getting pressure on buyers or people to push the price down, which eventually forces me to push the put it down on the farmers, which I don't want to do, right? And it's like if these guys understood, like they talk to me like as if the stuff is free, and these guys are just putting it in a box and shipping it, and it's like no, there's more to this than you know what I mean. Like some of these guys don't even have boats to go out to the water; they got to swim out there and swim back with their their sacks and stuff like that, and it's a lot of hard work, you know.
It is. It's patience as well because don't forget. I mean, we've narrowed it down to planting and harvesting in a month, and that depends on how you plant.
Yeah.
If you do a small plant, then it will take 3 months. If you do a big plant, then it would you could harvest in a month.
Yes.
So that means but saying that it's every other day because you can't leave your plot and just walk away from it because you leave it for too long. It's all of the algae and all of the stuff starts to grow up on your ropes and stuff like that because you have to constantly clean it as well. For you to get really healthy sea moss, you have to constantly be cleaning. Yep. So it's literally it's full on. And then on top of that, now once you finish that, then you have to get the sea moss out of the sea. And you safe environment to dry, which we finished now. We're literally taking up some good time. It's a job.
Yeah.
So to ask them now to belittle that is difficult because it's just like fruits and not necessarily fruits, but you buy sweet potato and you got to do the hard work. It's because someone to go and weed the grass, someone has to keep the grass down, someone has to stuff so you can get good quality stuff. So, and as I said, it's probably because of these people in Indonesia and all of these other people that's trying to bring it down. It's where they assume that they can get it for this cheap price. Like the other day, a friend of mine came down from New York, and he's Canadian, and he's got somebody that he gets it from really cheap. And I said to him, partners, good for you, man, because there'll always be one or two people that don't really have the business savvy, or they don't really know, what their value is, and then they would give it away for next to nothing.
Yeah.
There's always people like that. So I said, bro, I mean, great, if you can get it for that price, get it for that price. But I personally, after all of the hard work, being a cultivator now, there's no way you're getting it for that price. And then he said, oh, well, you know what? I can go to St Lucia and get it out of St Lucia cheap as well. I said, huh? I don't know anywhere that really in St Lucia that sells it really cheap. I mean, to get it out to you for the price that you want.
When there's,
I can understand you can get one or two people might do that for you, but in general,
more than sorry to cut you off, but more than likely, if he's getting it super cheap, the person's either stolen it, or the quality of the Seamoss is shit. There's a lot of rejected Seamoss. There's a lot of Seamoss that, like, the bigger buyers, they turn down for whatever reason, and someone buys it. They have to sell it for some price. It usually is the stuff that goes cheap. You know what I mean? So I think, like you were saying earlier, that to me is the most important thing when it comes to buying a Seamoss, is to learn your sources, understand who you're buying from and where they got it. Like, you see how Todd, I could ask him where he knows exactly where his Seamoss is getting it from. Yeah. And they probably send him videos on how they're drying it and stuff, because that's another important factor that people don't realize. It's not just getting good Seamoss out of the water, it's also drying it, cleaning it, because if you don't clean it right, you can it could be less potent. If you bleach it for too long, you're going to sweat the minerals out of it too much. You know what I mean? There's all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a timing, because when I first started drying, I realized that, like, for example, I will get my Seamoss out, and I would put it in I wouldn't say necessarily a dark place,
Uh-huh.
but it would be an irrigated place, just overnight. And I'd let it just give it a little sweat. So in the morning, when you put your finger and you taste it, it's salty.
Yep.
Straight away, I stick it out in the sun. Now, I don't put it, I'll hang mine, because I've got a lot of ropes where I hang mine, and I let the sun hit it. So by the time it hits it now, what you're doing is you're getting all of the crystal, the iodine, which acts as a preservative as well. Yeah, so it's properly preserved. Whereas now, going back to what I was saying to you about the bleaching aspects of it, I don't like that aspects of it, because it takes away too much natural stuff. Because with the iodine now, it gives you an opportunity, as for women, to use it for thyroids or whatever. It gives them a choice. If you don't want to use it for that, you just wash it out, and then you process it how you want to process it. So it gives you a choice of how to, but then at the same time, with the salt on it, it preserves it. And it keeps it healthy, it keeps it fresh until it gets to its destination. Because Seamoss can stay on the shelf for a bloody long time when it's dry.
Yes, long time.
Yeah, very long time.
And a lot of people are scared, or they're all iffy about the salt. But I always tell them it's the type of salt that you should be concerned about. But the salt is fine. Like, most of the minerals are in the salt.
Exactly. And it has different purposes.
Uh-huh.
It has different usage. And as I said, the salt would really benefit people with thyroids, with that kind of condition. And as I said, for me, I don't have a thyroid problem. So what I'll do, I'll just take it and I would wash it. Because, for example, if I'm making smoothies and stuff like that, I don't want the salty.
No.
I don't want the Seamoss to overpower, what I want to use it for. So then I would wash the salt out, and then, soak it, and then blend it, and stick it in the fridge. And then it'll be nice and, ready to blend with anything that I want to use. So it really does, you have, but at least you give them a choice, instead of it just being sort of bleached and it has no salt and it has nothing on it, and it's just, give people a natural choice. And I think that's what the problem I have with the brown Seamoss and all of that is, it's not giving people a choice. Because the more people, which one is better one? The purple Seamoss? Well, you've got purple, green. You've even got blue. I actually saw it. Julian, I saw blue Seamoss, and I was really shocked. I've been looking for that strain, and I think that was out of St Lucia. Someone in St Lucia had that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the blue Seamoss, or what they're making the blue Seamoss out of, from what I know, and I mean I could be wrong, is it's from the really dark green. Like, you know how they make the purple, how they use generally the darker browns in the purple. It's the same with the greens. The really darker ones will tend to come out with like a really like turquoises, dark greenish color, and when you soak it, it it will go blue when you're soaking it. I actually have some, because I'm in the warehouse right now. I have a box sitting right in front of me, and I'm gonna pull some out.
And going back to you, Mary, the coloured sea mosses are the real. What I mean by the real sea moss, it's the natural sea moss. So you can get different colours. The purple, you get the green. Just like you say, you can get the blue effects patterns. Are generally the natural sea moss, but that's how the sea moss will come out with various different colours. And that would depend on the strain. That would be dependent on the quality of the water, the nutrients in the water. Would give you, but generally it depends on the strain of Seamoss that you've got.
Yeah.
But the coloured ones is the ones that you look out for. It's a more natural one because it hasn't been, as we said, it hasn't been exposed to anything. It's just coming as naturally as you're going to get it. And the more naturally you get anything, the better it is. Now the greens and the different colours have different benefits. It's not a huge benefits, but it just has different, just like you would get a tomato, which is red, within anything yellow. All of these different colors would give you a different, effect to your body. So, I mean, I can send you a hell of a lot of information on that. But, it's, once you're consuming anything, it's really good for you to go out of your way and find this stuff out yourself. I mean, we can preach that to you all day long, but it's really,
Right.
it's a good thing for you to go and research because the information is out there. There's a lot of regurgitated information, which is getting a bit boring now, but you know what I mean, that people are doing. But in general, it has so much different aspects of it, like usage and so yeah, Julian, you've got the blue one.
Yeah, I'm actually pulling some up right now, and I'm trying to see if there's a way to change my profile pic, and I'll take a picture. I think you do this thing where it's called like poll to refresh or whatever, and you should be able to. Actually, so I updated it now. You can take a look. I'm going to show everybody in the camera. This is what we're talking about, the blue sea moss. Do you see it on my profile pic?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you see how that's the dark green, and then I'm going to do another photo of some other one that's similar.
I don't see it. I don't know how y'all see it.
It should, if you pull down to refresh in the room, it should update my profile pic.
Yeah. I saw them. I saw that. I got the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a really dark green. That like, and when you soak it, and I even think this is not like, I have stuff that's darker than this. Like, it was just all that I could find quickly. But you really notice the blue when you soak the sea moss. That's when it comes out like bluish. Yeah, and there's also pink sea moss too.
Julian, what's the company you with? I mean, what's your company?
It's St Lucian Seamoss Company.
I figured so. I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah,
I hear from you guys a lot.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you.
I think I had a conversation with you a while back because I was dealing with fake Seamoss and just to get some clarification on some stuff too. So I appreciate you.
No problem. Was it like you called me on our phone, or was it in the chat?
Through Messenger or something like that. I think IG actually.
Yeah, I always try to be available. I think that's one of the most important things as a seller is that when people have a question, you're like you don't take long to get back to them, and you know what I mean. You kind of do your best to answer their question so that they can go on with their research. Yeah, but thank you for buying CMOS from us. I really appreciate that. You know what I mean?
It was a long process to find you guys because, as you all know, what y'all were talking about, there's a lot of fake stuff out here. So I had a lot of trial and error. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy to hear that you were able to, find the right people to buy the CMOS, and now you don't have to worry about dealing with any shady or, you know, I don't know. It's hard to say because these guys they're all trying to make money, but they're not using the right methods. There's so many ways to make money in this CMOS. You know what I mean? And I honestly see a lot of people that are going about it in some way, sometimes the wrong ways. So
It's just like everything else, man.
yeah.
Just that when people are searching for convenience instead of the actual right thing, you know what I mean? So they usually go for the Asian CMOS. I found some from Vietnam and all that stuff. Yeah, so.
But hey,
I've never come across fake CMOS. I don't even know what that looks like.
there's no Andre. There's no fake CMOS. That's some
Right, that's what I was about to say.
bullshit myth. Even the CMOS that's from Indonesia and all those places that they say is full grown, it's still CMOS. It's still good. That's the CMOS I started on, and I found result. That's why I always I don't say it to everybody, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, if this was fake, then how did I get? You know what I mean? Like this is what made me excited about CMOS. You know what I mean? Now it's not as good as the CMOS I have now, right? But that doesn't mean it's fake. It's just shitty CMOS.
Yeah, it's more about quality and consistency of the qualities for me. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one thing that we try to do at St. Lucian Seamoss Company is have consistent quality. I'm trying to sound like a commercial there. No, but seriously, we do. I've been blessed to have a great business partner who is able to kind of vet or what I mean, go through all the CMOS and check it, and he makes sure he buys from, you know, um, not only the best farmers or the guys that are producing the best product, but he also makes sure that he does his best where he can to spread the money out as as evenly or as fairly as possible. What I've seen sometimes is one or two sellers or buyers will come in and they'll only buy off a couple people, and that really hurts a community when out of 100 people, five of them are fat and the other people are suffering. You know, so yeah.
And that's hence the reason why I called mine Weemos. Because we're dealing with so many different energies, and it's not just a matter of just buying it off of them, it's also educating them, because my whole plan, especially down here, is to get the standard. Everybody's on the same standard, because we all can eat. But if we all lift our standards, we can all, produce a really good product to export. And that's what the problem is. Everybody has, because there's a lot of different people that's got different formulas of how they do this stuff, which is a problem. But to keep this same standard all around is gonna help the economy over here, because as I said, a lot of people can benefit from this thing. And the best thing that we can do is to push out the most healthiest product that we can. Because to be quite honest, most of these islands, the people that's going to support us first would be our local people, and these are the people out in the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it be Canadian, St Lucian, wherever you're from, you're going to take a product from you, and you're going to be proud to be able to purchase a product from your island, knowing that, oh, that's Grenadian Seamoss, yeah, because I know Grenada. Oh, that's St Lucian Seamoss, because I know St Lucia. You know what I mean? We're very patriotic like that. So the best thing that we can do is to, give the best product that we can, because we're giving them back to our people first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we want to lift them up, so we don't want to kill them.
No.
We got other people do that already, so we don't help that.
Facts.
But anyway, gentlemen and ladies, I gotta go. Good night. I will look out for you Wednesday, as you said, Wednesday, Sunday.
Yeah, Sundays and Wednesdays.
Sundays, Wednesdays. So I'll definitely. I think you'll definitely be pinging me anyway.
Okay.
Because I'll definitely see a notification because I did see it before.
This time.
That's
Awesome.
what got me interested. Yeah, well, I'm actually on the Seamoss your Facebook page, and I saw that. That's why I jumped on the actual clubhouse itself.
Nice. Yeah.
Enough, I was on Clubhouse before, but I've never wanted to have a conversation on Clubhouse.
Yeah, you know what?
Until I saw this.
Some of the Clubhouse rooms that I've been into, I find they're so intimidating. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's either the person on the stage is kind of like, all talking and not giving any room in, or the people in the group, the stuff that they're talking about is such garbage that you're just like, oh, you know what I mean? I don't even want to contribute to this. But what I like about the rooms that I've been having is that there's never, like, I intentionally don't ping a lot of people to come in the room, or I don't try to make a big room, because I feel like when there's too many people in the room, you don't have these kind of like intimate conversations because everybody's trying to talk over everybody, and it's just not great. Some of the best conversations is when there's 10 or less people in a room. But,
yeah, definitely.
But I'm not going to keep you, Andre. I'm going to kick you off because I know you have to get up early in the morning. And if I really wanted to, I could keep you here all night. We both know that. So.
No problem, man. No problem. You have a good one, man.
You too.
Take care, and we'll talk soon, yeah?
Yes, for sure. You have a good night's rest, man.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, brother.
I think that was really cool to have someone who's farming, especially someone from a different country, to come in and speak and share about their experiences. So, Yancey, are you taking the Seamoss for your personal health, or do you have a business doing it? Let's talk to you a little bit.
Well, I've been taking it since around 2015, 2016.
Oh, wow.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started a whole journey and just started doing research, diving deep. Fell into, came across Dr. Sadie. And so then that's when I found out about Seamoss. Then I started my whole journey on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've got some good Seamoss, but I started buying some from different places just to see the variants, just to figure out what's what. But I've been taking it ever since. And just side note, like a year after I was diagnosed, I reversed my diagnosis. Haven't been on meds since. You know what I mean? So
congratulations.
I take it religiously. I sell it on a small scale though, to friends, family, things of that nature, but not on the large scale. Not as of yet. So I'm also I'm a holistic wellness coach, and so it's part of my part of something that I offer to my clients as well, just for their quest on the balance of life. You know what I mean? So
that's cool. That's a nice story, and that's amazing. Congratulations on being able to reverse the disease that you had, or the heart issues. You know what I mean? That's nothing better than to get a second chance, kind of like on life, or like to see that you have the power to reverse something that you thought was going to be like detrimental to your future. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's power right there.
And every time I think about it, He-Man, when he says the "I have the power" situation.
Yeah.
But that's like every time I think about it, that's what comes to my mind. Because a lot of times we think we don't have power over our lives. You know what I mean? So when you come to the realization that for me, it was like everything I did up to this time put me in the hospital and put me in that position. So everything I do after this put me where put me where I want to be. So, yeah.
And I think that's where lies the power, is the choices. People
Right.
don't fully understand or analyze how much choices affect the way you are. It's like I always tell people, like, if you're not happy with something, if you're living a life, it's because you're either choosing something or you're not choosing something
Right.
that could affect your life. And all you got to do is change, look at what your choices are, and ask yourself what you need to change, and just don't do it. You know.
Yep. Shoot, it helped me because I had issues with alcohol and substances and everything else, smoking, and so it Seamoss was been on my journey for the whole ride. So I stand by it wholeheartedly.
So, what do you think about the human body Like, this is a part of the topic that we have today about the human body compass. This whole 102, 92. Did you read the article that I posted in the link above? Did you see it?
Not yet. Not yet.
What the article basically is about is it has nothing to do with Dr. Saber or anything. It's a total independent article, and it's basically talking about the the elements of life, like what are present in the human body. And the main thing it says is that that there's only 94 elements that occur naturally, and the body is comprised of about 60 of these naturally occurring elements. And so there is no, well, I don't know, I haven't done enough research to know, but what they're kind of saying is that there is no 92 102. You know what I mean? And yeah.
I think that's a myth in itself that people like kind of grab from the periodic table. You know what I mean? To make it seem better than what it is. But in actuality, even if you go from truth, it's still better, you know what I'm saying, than where you were in the first place. So, like I tell my clients, I was like, I don't know if it's 92, I don't know if it's 102, I don't know. But all I know is
it works.
It supports you in your, journey towards, what do you call it, homeostasis, which our body is in constant, is trying to seek that all the time. You know what I mean? And so, and then with our diet that we eat, the food that we're eating, actually, the digestive process depletes minerals from our bodies in order just to digest the food that we're eating. And so, with consuming Seamoss, we put that back into the plate. You know what I mean? And so, it just helps all around, man. Like I said, hair, nails, skin, like all that.
Everything. No, I agree. Hair, skin, thought, the list is endless. You know what I mean? What about moringa? Were you here when we were talking to moringa? Have you tried moringa?
I've tried it a little bit, but I mean now I'm pretty simple. I do take some blue green algae at times. I try to keep that on a consistent basis along with the sea moss. But as far as moringa itself, just because I'm kind of skeptical, just because once the health and wellness became a fad, you never know what you get. And so,
Sure.
Especially when you start seeing the stuff in Walmart, I'm like, hey, I don't know if this is this is 100%. You know what I mean? And so, I kind of stepped away from it, but I do have some sources that actually grow and harvest their own, and so, but I still haven't gotten back into it yet. So.
Yeah, listen, that tree is a hardy tree. You can almost grow it anywhere. You can even grow it like indoors. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm thinking about growing something myself.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm wholeheartedly into this, the whole health and wellness situation, and I'm a creative mind. I'm kitchen oriented, and my how can I foundation. So I like creating, especially like all things. So planning and just having the natural resource as opposed to getting it from somewhere else. But that's my ultimate goal, is just to have, like, growing my own burdock root, echinacea, elderberries, all that jazz. Just to have it. I want to be the source. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, once you're the source, you know what's in it. You know what I mean? Like you were saying earlier about the like these other product, like what's in this product. I'm like that when it comes to powders. Like it's like I'm always like, there's got to be some filler. Unless I make the powder myself, I don't trust any powder. Do you know what I
yep.
mean? Like,
And even with, especially after Sabi passed, like, even with some of his products, because you don't, like, there's been rumors about the company, selling false products and this and that. And I was actually buying some, like the bromine powder and all that stuff. But I ceased from buying stuff from them just because I don't know. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So
What do you think about the whole like Dr. Sabi movement, fanatic? You know what I mean? Like how everybody kind of like, I don't know. I guess a lot. If you're on my Facebook group on the Seamoss Buyers Club, I've recently posted some links where I was talking about Dr. Sabi or different sides of Dr. Sabi, and it didn't really go over well with the general community. Did you see the post I'm talking about, or you just know what it would be like?
yeah, I mean, I didn't see the post, but I know how I'm gonna say passionate that some people are about all that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. They kept saying, "Oh, you're hating him," and it's like I'm not hating him. I don't know him to hate him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and besides, he's not here. So even if I hated him, what is that going to do for me? Nothing.
Right.
And I don't even hate it, but what the issue I have is how everybody reacts to him and how everybody treats it, and how many of these people that are these devout like followers and stuff, they really don't know too much about the guy. Do you know what I mean? They know what they've heard from other people, and I can see that. And so that was like part of me putting that thing out there is just to see how people would react to it. You know what I mean? And like literally, some of them wanted to crucify. The biggest joke, the biggest joke is the amount of people that were like, "Oh, someone call a moderator. Who would put this garbage up there?" And I'm the moderator. And then it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna quit this group," and all of this. And it's like, guys, this is a Seamoss group. This is not a I love Dr. Sabi. We're gonna talk about all sides of everything. You know what I mean? Like we're here. To me, the group should be more about the truth than anything. You know?
And that's just a product of the over information that we're times we live in, because people associate information with, well, they try to put it as who they are. You know what I'm saying? And then when you challenge that, you're challenging their, like, who they are. You know what I mean? Their
whole
persona
beliefs.
or whatnot.
Yeah.
Because nobody thinks for themselves these days, and so even like they're told this stuff about Sabi, but nobody's actually done research, like you said, know about him and know about even the types of Seamoss or the story behind Seamoss. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting times we live in, man. And so like I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier, and I was saying, all things must exist for all things to exist, because in the yin and yang of things, solutions get figured out. You know what I mean? The truth comes out.
Yes.
And so, it's all part of the process, man. But it is funny. Just like even like vegans and vegetarians, that whole situation too. It's people are overly passionate about information. You know what I mean? That really has anything to do with who we really are. So
yeah, they make it like it's their identity, and so you're
right.
questioning who they are and what they believe in, and you know what I mean. It's whatever. A lot of it too, I feel, is it's being done because they don't have any other way on how to sell their product.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So it's like I don't know what to say.
And even that the challenging the comments or what have you that was mentioned, it helps them grow too, but they don't realize it. But hopefully they take that and do research and get more grounded in, you know what I'm saying, that whole base of their organization or whatever that they have going on. So,
Yeah.
but
That's exactly why I did it, right? And this is what I was telling a friend the other day because he's like, "Why do you do that stuff?" And I said, "Listen, the guys that are the diehard Sebi fans, I'll never change their mind. It's ingrained. It's like, you know what I mean? That's their sort of like that's their identity. But there's a huge portion of these people that are still learning and starting discovering. And by putting that content out there and engaging and having the comments and not so much see like people because I played the devil's advocate side or I played the opposite side, they all thought I was trying to hate, but really what I was trying to do was create different forms of opinion to create, like, to me it's like, well, what else do we not know about this guy? Let me learn more about this guy. Let me, like, this causes you to do more research and to figure out and say, okay, you know, who were the people that Dr. Sebi learned from? Let me study those people. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if anything, it would spawn certain people to go out and prove me wrong. Do you know what I'm saying?
And it's not even like who he is. It's about like who he was about, and like dig deeper into
Yes.
the whole thing. Because Dr. Saber is just a name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And when you do more research to him, at least from what I've learned and saw of him, he was not how do you say it? He was not fanatical about this as everybody else is, in the sense that, like, he himself would cheat on his diet and eat
Yes.
fish and do this stuff. He was not, you know what I mean, like devout, you know what I mean, as some of these people are. Like, I've watched some of these comments and some of this, and these guys flip out. It's like, no, you can't have lemons. That's a hybrid. You only have this and only have that. Dr. Sebi would, you know what I mean? I'm sure if he was around, he'd probably say, you know what? You got lemons, just fucking use lemons. You know what I mean? Like, you got nothing else. Like, we can't have everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, one guy told me, he's like, if we followed everything off that list, like, you wouldn't be able to survive because most of the stuff you can't get, you know, in certain countries and in certain areas, you know?
Yep.
So,
yeah, definitely with that, especially like the water they were consuming, like this from the land he was on. It was like you can't get that stuff everywhere. Like,
yeah. You can get it in St. Lucia, though.
right.
Yeah, we have natural spring volcanic water all over the island. It's crazy. Like, they just have springs that come out of nowhere, and it's all like super clean, mineral rich and shit. When I was down there, I never drank tap water. I only drank water from a spring. My partner would go once a week and collect it, and it came out of a tree. There was like a pipe that they stuck in a tree, and it's like, he said, it's this big tree, and it's just this constant flowing of water, and you just kind of put your bucket in there and your jugs, and you fill it up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the water tastes amazing. It's like full, like I.
Is it fresh water?
Yeah, it's like fresh spring water. It's like volcanic spring water. Because the majority of St. Lucia is all volcanic, right? That's why the soil's really good. That's why the water is like phenomenal. And I think even in Grenada, they have some volcanic activities, and it's those islands that generally have that volcanic soil and stuff that have higher nutrients in the water because of the stuff that's running. Like, we have a sulfur spring that just constantly spewing out, you know, rich mineral rich water into, and then that gets pushed out into the ocean.
Nice.
Yeah. So you do the consulting for other people. How does that work? Like, do you just like create a package with them? You interview them.
Well, like a discovery session, as I call it, we figure out, you know, where people are, where they actually want to be, and usually I just go from what they perceive as the way to get there, and I'm the support and give support and empowerment to get to that journey. You know what I mean? And I'm also a resource. I'm studying to be an herbalist too, so you know, I just help them in many ways and forms and fashion. So
That's beautiful. I think there needs to be more
people like that that are on the how do you say it, the more of the teaching side, you know what I mean, or the coaching side to kind of help the, because a lot of people are new at this and they really, no one know, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's everything. Nobody's like I tell my kids, like even with me being a dad, like I'm just like they're new at learning and being a kid. You know, I'm learning as we go too. They're teaching me as I'm trying to teach them. You feel me? So it's the same in all things. We're all learning. We're all evolving. So, and what I try to do is actually teach people. I don't want to be the caveat for their healing. I'll point them in the right direction. Teach them how to do certain things for themselves. So it lasts a lifetime. So it's not like a diet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That it falls off once you lose the support of a certain and whatnot. And then from there they can influence their friends and families. You know what I mean? It becomes like a domino effect type situation.
It's almost like how God, you teach, you know what I mean,
Right,
instead of
right.
him a fish, which I think is like, as black people and stuff, I think it's important that we, more of us, work to help others come up and, like, you know, like basically teach more people how to be fishermen.
And we've become so such a slave to convenience that we kind of push back on when we have to do things for ourselves, and that's why we're like the leading consumers on the planet. But we don't produce a lot. You know what I mean? And so I heard this a long time ago. Like produce double of what you consume. You know what I mean? And so just to add to planet, add to everything.
That's a good point, because you're either a giver or like you're a taker, and if you keep taking and not giving, there's not going to be anything left for you to keep taking.
Yeah, that's why we are where we are on this. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's all full circle, man.
No, that's facts. You know, that's facts. This is not making a lot of noise, is it? What I'm doing?
I mean, it's making sound. It's like a bag of chips.
Yeah, you know what it is? I'm co-packing Seamoss. I also just realized I put too much in the bag. Sometimes I do that. I'm always heavy-handed with the Seamoss, because like the last thing I want is for someone to weigh the Seamoss and they're like, "Oh, this is not," you know what I mean? It's like when you used to chop weed, you know, you didn't want
that digital scale.
Yeah. You didn't want to short the bag at all, and then they call back complaining. It's like doing the work twice. So someone just came in, "Hey, it's Miss Happy." I'm not sure who Miss Happy is, but happy to see you. But you know what? I'll do this later. I shouldn't. I'm always trying to multitask while I'm working and stuff, and it does make a little bit of noise, and I can wait, you know. But there's always work to do in the Seamoss factory, you know.
Yep. That's cool though. That you guys you got to the source and really having a good relationship with the farmers and everything.
Yeah, I think that it's like vital for this business, is that you have ship. I think that there's a lot of times there's too many people trying to shop and get the lowest price, and a lot of times the lowest price is not the best product. You know what I mean? Or it's the best way to do. And if you understand your business right and how to sort of like price your products, you shouldn't really be worried too much about saving $1 or two, because on the grand scheme of things, you're not really saving much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I always tell people, especially for these guys that are making a gel, because one jar of gel can easily. Here's the thing: I get mixed like feedback from people, but they've told me that they can make anywhere between 16 to, well, they usually say more, but I've heard the rule of thumb is 16, but it's usually 16 to like 20 jars of 1 pound.
So I always go with 1 ounce, one equals 132 ounce jar. So 1 ounce of dry sea moss will make 32 ounces of, or is it, no, maybe it's 16 ounces. Yeah, 16 ounces of one gel. So 1 ounce of sea moss makes 1 pound of gel. And fuck, where was I going with this? I hate when that happens. It's getting late. Oh, that was it. So at $16, at 16 ounces a jar and 16 jars a pound, you're effectively paying. If you say you paid $30 for that pound, divided into 16, you're making. It's costing you $1.88, right? But if
Yeah.
you were to say pay $25 divided by that 16, which is just $5 less, it's like you're saving 30 cents on the jar. It's now $1.56, right? And so what I feel is like you trying to save that $5, in the grand scheme of things, you're only saving 30 cents a jar. Yeah, sure, it adds up, but it's almost like if you were to try and if you would pay more for that CMOS, but the CMOS was better quality and it was cleaner, you would in theory sell more of the CMOS because your CMOS is more popular. Do you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then you like just sell more CMOS. Like you sell an extra 2-3 jars, that $5 that you saved is negligible. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I'm reading the comments as I'm talking, so that's why I get a little distracted. Someone says like, "What? I'm the woman who discovers you're on late, then asks you to start all over from the beginning. How can you forget me, Sir Julien?" I don't know. How could I forget? Busy life, you know what I mean. I smoke a little bit too much. Maybe that's my problem. That's my vice, you know. But yeah, as saying, just sell more CMOS and not worry so much about saving a buck here or $2 here, because it's I don't know. We pay more for our CMOS than most people, and that's because we get better quality CMOS. You know what I mean? And so I always have the CMOS. I never have to worry about it. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about getting a bum shipment, or what I mean. There might be crap in it, because what happens when this guy can't get your good CMOS for the price that you want? He's still going to send CMOS, right? It's just not going to be as good.
Oh yeah.
You
I
know?
ran into that too.
You've ran into that, right?
Yep.
It happens. Not good, not good at all. But you live and you learn. Just like I hope this guy does. I have a business. I do co-packing, and I'm packing the CMOS in the packages the guy gave me, and he didn't do the right tests to ensure that the package, how do you put it? Basically, it's not big enough to fit the size of CMOS that he needs to fit in it. So the bag looks like so fat. It's ridiculous. Like it looks like it's gonna burst. Like twice as much CMOS that needs to be in there. It's crazy. Like you hear me trying to stuff it in the bag. Like wow. So what area are you from? Sorry, forgot your name.
I'm in Atlanta.
Yancey. You're in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Nice. There's so many CMOS sellers in Atlanta. That's like the mecca.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is true. There's false ones everywhere. And then there's some that the CMOS is not bad. It's just like the biggest issue I see with a lot of these CMOS that people think are fake. It's just it wasn't dried right. Do you know what I mean? Like if they were to dry it a little more, you wouldn't have noticed the difference between that CMOS and say the CMOS. No, it is, and even then you get what's the word I'm looking for? You don't get the value of it because the sea moss is so moist that it has so much weight to it that the difference in the volume is like night and day. It's like it's got 3 times the weight than it should be.
Yeah, I think that's what I ran into. But the product smelled like chlorine.
I think it might be ammonia.
Because I can smell it like through the box.
Yeah, it's definitely not chlorine, actual chlorine, because sea moss wouldn't be able to grow in chlorine. It'd have to be salt water. So what I suspect, because I've smelt that kind of off, sort of pungent smell, I suspect it's more ammonia based, because it's really sharp to the nose when you smell it, and you're just like, oh, what is that?
And I made some gel, and it just didn't. I wasn't cool with it, so.
Mm-hmm. That's when it starts going off, or it starts spoiled in a sense, because there's just too much moisture, and the moisture, the sea moss kind of breaks down, it decomposes. It's just, excuse me, just off.
And I also I got some from actually Ireland too, which is cool, but it takes forever to get here, and the shipping is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, joke. But there are places in like Maine and in Canada that actually sell Condor's Christmas too, and it's apparently good. I've never tried myself. I actually should try some. Like I have some. Someone gave me a gift before, and I never got a. I don't know. I'm not to say I'm lazy, but it's hard for me to make. Like all my time is occupied. You know what I mean? So for me to get the time to sit down and clean the sea moss and soak it right and do it, and I have to figure it out. I don't know. I'll wait for a day off if I get a day off. To do it. It's easier for me just to do the sea moss that I know and I'm used to. Yeah.
I just ordered some Seamoss from you. Just know. It's crazy because I just like kind of ran out, and I like happened to run across. Like I said, I just did finished up a room on what do you call this thing?
Clubhouse.
Yeah. And so I was like, what else is going on? And this conversation was the first. So it's a reminder I need to buy Seamoss too.
Cool. Yeah, let me know if you want to get some more sea moss from us. I'll hook you up. I find it interesting that not more people have joined because usually you'll see these people that will come in when you hear something about 92. I think I have Doctor. If I had put like Dr. Sabi's name in it or something like that, they probably would have seen it and been like, oh my god, what are they saying?
Yeah. Coming to start debates and all that.
Yeah, they want to start fights like that.
They got to protect that the Savior's name and reputation.
Yeah, but I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. You're gonna have these guys everywhere. I mean, I'll say this: I'm happy that they are happy that they have found someone that they can inspire them to be more healthier than they were before they had met him.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like that is like a good thing. So yeah, I'm happy for them. Definitely happy for them. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Any particular?
Shit, I'm good actually. I have to get off of here.
Yeah, I'm thinking about ending. Otherwise, it's like go to like 4 in the morning. That's the one thing I love about CMOS is that I could talk about it forever. And
I wanted to, because I was a little tired up real quick, but I wanted to ask you something, Julien.
Yeah.
When you see this, like this, it's like a real stringy type sea moss that a lot of people be like saying is Jamaican sea moss. Is that a specific species that looks like that?
The one that they call spaghetti moss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you see pictures of it, it just looks like almost like strands of hair.
Yeah, like thin strands of hair, like spaghetti. That I believe is Garcilaria.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I don't see what I get coming up out of there doesn't look like that. It looks what's the other type that's coming out of St. Lucia? The humor?
Yeah, so the two main species that is St. Lucia are the Eukinema cottini and the Garcilaria. But even with the Garcilaria, and even with the Eukinema, there's like subspecies of that same species. Like there's Capicaya, like some of them I don't even talk about. Yeah, Capoficus. I don't know. I'd have to get my notes out again to look. But there are like, and that's the thing. Like at least in St. Lucia that I've seen, even the Garcilaria and the Eukinema, at times they'll behave like one another, like they'll switch. You know what I mean? And so you'll look, you think is Garcilaria, but then you look at it closely more, and you're like, oh no, this exhibits more of Eukinema species. And then I even met some farmers, although I wasn't able to test I guess, the truthfulness of it, but they were claiming that they were splicing the different species and making new. Like I had this one friend of mine. Oh my god, this guy, he was like the Seamoss like mad scientist, and he was like trying to put this species together to connect that together because if you take two different species and kind of tie them to the same rope, they will then join onto each other. They'll graft like naturally, just graft into each other and become one Seamoss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like similar to what they do with land plant, like normal plants, the grafting and stuff. They're pulling that off with sea moss.
I believe so. Someone else could correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the experience when I was hanging out with this one guy and we were working on his farms, and he was showing me how he was connecting two different species or two different styles of the sea moss and putting together to make his strain. Yeah.
Okay.
He was trying to tell me that this species is going to make the perfect purple. And I'm like, oh, so it's just slightly more perfect than the perfect purple? Or the perfect purple? It's like, some of the names they can come up with is so funny. But, yeah.
Yeah. Was that on St. Lucia?
Yeah, that was in St. Lucia. I hung around a buddy of mine, fucking, it's not Marvin, no. Oh, fuck, I forget his name. It's been a while. I haven't talked to him in a while. I should check on him. See, Melvin Charles. Yeah. Oh no,
is that
Myron? Myron is his name. Not Melvin.
Who's got tied to Marvin? I see Marvin in the group all the time.
Yeah, Marvin's a cool guy. Marvin's a good person. Yeah, I knew who Marvin was before. He came into the group. He's been doing really well in the group, which is like I'm happy for him. You know what I mean? I know there's probably some haters and stuff, but like those guys are only hating because they're not willing to do what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is he around the Viewport area too?
Who, Marvin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he lives in Prowlin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he lives in Prowlin. I don't know how to explain where he's by the football field, as far as I know.
Okay.
Or the school or some kind of field, but it's not far from the water. Yeah.
Yeah. That dude gave away 100 pounds. Did you see that, Julien? You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that. What do you think? I fucking called them and was like, bro, are you mad? Like, what are you doing? Like, you nuts? What the fuck? Like, listen, I'm not here to try and tell people how to run the bit. And I said that to him straight. I was like, bro, you want to do that? You want to do that. That's on you. But I said, I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I think you're fucking crazy, and you don't need to be this nice. I go, if you end up selling the Seamoss, I'll like call me up. Let's talk. You know what I mean? You don't need to give away this much Seamoss. And my concern is that he's not doing the numbers accurately enough, and that he might end up falling short. Because it's a business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. You
that
got overhead. Yeah.
yeah, and he didn't get that CMOS for free. He paid
Mhm.
people. You know what I mean? Whether he paid people to go get it for him or he paid people that had it and gave it to him. You know what I mean? He didn't do all the work himself. I don't care what anybody says. No one does the
Yeah.
work themselves.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
I think he's crazy. Here's a question someone said here from Facebook. Said, this may seem off topic. I've heard about the fish having drugs. Have you heard about the fish having drugs in their system? They have been tested, so it makes me wonder if Seamoss is subjected to exposure from drugs discarded in the waters by traffickers to avoid the Coast Guard and law enforcement. I'm deep as the ocean about my curiosity about things. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think that that's really possible in the sense of CMOS, unless the the thing broke open. You know what I mean? Near the CMOS, and it was there, kind of like leaching into the water. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, I do know that occasionally drugs will wash up on shore. Some people will find it, but it's more of like, those are like urban legend kind of things, like you don't hear about it every day. It's like one day this happened. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You know, that's a very good question.
People eat that sea moss and get the kick of a lifetime.
Oh yeah, that's the make them run around in circles. It's like, I don't know why he's got so much energy. That'd be funny. That'd be funny. It'd be jokes.
Yeah. 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 So is the island surrounded by a reef?
Um, No, not that I know of. The island has a lot of flat areas and has a lot of volcanic soil. Like a lot of the beaches are like they have black sand beaches.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I think a lot of the minerals come from that. I've done
Yeah.
research that shows that sea moss doesn't get the minerals from the rock, and it's more about the dissolved minerals or elements in the ocean, in the water that it's in. And it feeds mainly off nitrates, nitrogen. So the
Uh-huh.
nitrogen is what they use to convert their food into proteins and all that kind of other stuff.
Okay. Okay. So the foot is just there as an attachment to anchor it to the rock. There's never no enzyme action or anything
No.
else that where the sea moss is breaking down any of the minerals from the rock or anything.
Yeah, no. The sea moss is an algae, and it's a multicellular algae, and so
Uh-huh.
therefore it has no root structure. It has no ability, like you said, to enzymes to dissolve the minerals from the rock, but then to also take those minerals and sort of, spread it throughout its body. It
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
one big vessel that absorbs nutrients all around it through its cellular walls.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
And if you want more data on it, like shoot me an email and I'll send you the links and all the. I have a bunch of links and a bunch of PDFs that I've collected all about CMOS and CMOS industry, and there's a lot about the CMOS farming and cultivation. I think if people really understood and seen firsthand how CMOS is farmed, then they would understand that there's really no big difference between that CMOS on the rock, except for like if you. I don't know if you were there when we were first talking with Andre, and he was talking about how when he puts the sea moss closer to the ground, or the closer it is to the shore, to the floor of the ocean, the more it would mimic the wildcrafted look to it or nature to it.
Oh,
And
is that what it is? You said the closer it's grown. Is this even in a farming sense? The closer it's grown to the floor, more of a wildcraft to look at as?
Well, here is the thing. The closer it's, this is what I've learned, and I could be corrected wrong. Right, I got to be careful what I say because I'm not a super expert. But my experience being in St. Lucia on the farms, and what I was told by various farmers, is that the colder the water is, the more thicker and hardier the sea moss is going to grow, and that it's better it's better to keep the sea moss lower to the ground or as close to the ocean floor as possible, but also when you do that, it takes longer to grow. So a lot of them will just kind of put it midway between. Yeah. Now we tend to, from my experience when I was there, we would start the sea moss low to the ground, but then over time slowly start raising it up before we started getting harvest. Mainly so that we didn't want our sea moss dragging on the bottom of the ocean, because as the tide raises and lowers, your sea moss, and then as the sea moss gets bigger, it starts weighing on the rope, right? So it's going to go more into the soil, and so we would raise the ropes up slightly to keep it off the ground, or we would attach bottles like the floaters to it. And
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that on some of those farms. I wonder what that was. So that's to help give it some buoyancy.
yeah, that's to keep it from dragging the ocean floor.
Okay.
Closer it is to the sunlight, the belief is that the closer it is to the sunlight, the faster it will grow, because it operates on photosynthesis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 With the color of it, is the color affected by the depth of the temperature of the water?
Yeah, the deeper, from like I said before, I was told the deeper the water is, the tendency is for the darker the sea moss to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And why does the green seem to be like rarer than the other ones?
No idea, but it is.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's you see less of it as and stuff like that. The reason why in the market you don't see the green as much is because most of the people, there's either two ways to process the sea moss. You either bleach it and make it blonde, or you dry it in the dark and you make it into the colors, right? Now, when you bleach it, it doesn't matter if it's brown, green, whatever. It all comes the same color, right?
It's all gonna come gold, pretty much, right?
Yeah, it all turns
white,
to gold. It first turns white, and then as it dries, it becomes more golden. So a lot of times the green sea moss gets mixed up with that and stuff. So they just bleach it, whatever. And then it's only when you are separating those colors that you see there's not as much green out there as blue. I mean, as brown. But
Okay.
but I know farmers now that are basically like a certain portion of their farm is all just green sea moss.
What did you say that last part
A
again?
portion of their farm is just all green sea moss, and that's the thing. If they want, if there was more demand for green sea moss, you'd see green sea moss everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like they could produce more if they want to produce more. There's just not enough demand to justify the extra work to make the colored, the green colored.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's more work and it takes longer than the gold. Excuse me, the gold sea moss. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So none of the strains, there isn't a more potent strain than others.
I mean, it's hard to say because there's not enough like independent testing, and it's not always like strain specific. I believe it's more location specific. So depending on where it's located would determine the quality of the water that it's in, and the quality of the water is going to determine the quality of the sea moss overall. But then there's also drying the sea moss and cleaning the sea moss, where certain techniques could, potentially make it reduce the strength, so it's not as strong.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you notice a difference in the effectiveness of powder versus gel when people are taking the capsules or the dry powder versus taking the gel?
You know what? I haven't tried the powder yet. I should get some to try. Maybe I'll get some. I don't know if you heard of vegan fiber. I'm friends with the guy Kirby and Shayna. I think I might check
Vegan
them out.
fiber? I think I have. I think I've seen their on social media or something. Vegan fiber.
Yeah, they just recently rebranded their name. They used to be Divine Herbs and Healing, and they make some good teas and some other products. But they have the capsules. I think they have turmeric and sea moss and. Well, let me look here. I know for sure they have one with moringa, which is probably the one I would probably get.
Okay.
Because I love moringa. I think I'm surprised moringa is not a product that's more, you know, it's more not more popular. Like, not more people are talking about it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, because I was big on the in the herbal space, before the Seamoss, and so I started kind of waiting around to make sense out of things because people tend to just start throwing all kinds of stuff at you. But I saw that the moringa seemed to be kind of up there. People kept saying how potent, powerful it is, and so it was just like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago that I started. I made some gel and put about 24 grams of moringa powder in a 16-ounce gel.
Oh wow!
And yeah. So, because I mean, the recommendation I think is like 3 teaspoons a day or something. So I wanted, to kind of load it and see if I could feel anything. I mean, I don't sleep for 4 hours a day. You know what I mean? I'm avid about exercising and stuff like that, and I'm still have all the energy in the world. And I was already feeling the kick from doing the purple gel daily, but it seemed like once the moringa was introduced, it was a little extra.
Yeah, no, the moringa for me was like,
Yeah.
It was really good stuff.
Yeah.
Makes me
when
wonder.
You held up the Bob and Day the other day, is that something that you take here and there, or just have around?
So we brought it in to test it, right, and to eventually sell it. What had happened originally was I got scared to use it or scared to sell it because I didn't have enough experience using it. So what I did was I used some of it myself, and then I gave a bunch out to other people, and just kind of said, check it out, tell me what you think about it, see how it is, take. And a lot of times I would tell them to take like as minimal as a dose as I could recommend, because the story is that if you take too much of this stuff, your shit won't go down.
Yeah.
You have to go to the hospital and have it drained. So I did not want to get any phone calls from the hospital saying, "You motherfucker, why did you sell me this shit?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, sorry. I didn't test. Like, did you test it?" But I'll say this: it works. Definitely works. It's not like Viagra or Cialis where you take a pill, but it's like, when you need it, it will come to life. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, okay, let's go. And what I found out, and I'd like to try that now, is that it's equally ineffective in women.
Yeah. I want to, because I had some mailed over to me from down there, because I had an idea like that with the Muira Palma and the Catuaba bark, which there. So he sent me some of all that, and so then I have some buddies in Louisiana that are like around. One of them's around 60, and he's been having issues with ED for a while, like serious, and he, taking Viagra and stuff. He's like, man, if you have something, that works, man, send it my way. And I said, I got a natural type thing I want you to try out, and let me know. And he didn't get anything out of it. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I think your situation's a little bit too severe for that. because ED has all these. There's different levels to it.
So you saying he took?
I kind of just shut that down. I still have it here and stuff, and I was just kind of trying to figure.
But how did he make it? And did he make it right? And did he take enough?
Yeah, because I broke it down to him after doing the research, like how to make the tea, and he went and got the tea bags, and I forgot how many teaspoons I said to put in there, but it was and it was a mix of the three, and I said steep it in there, steep it in the tea for like 30 minutes for boil your tea and let it steep in there for like at least 30 minutes, so you get a good transfer of the alkaloids and stuff that's in there,
Yeah.
and because I knew he didn't have any experience with that, and I did my own research, and I wanted him to get that right, and he could have messed it up, you know what I mean? But he said that, he did everything, and just like I told him, but it didn't do anything for him, Crazy. And so I told my partner, who he was in a couple clubhouses ago, Jason. I was like, dude, it is what it is. Like, it's gonna work. I told him my hypothesis. I think it's gonna work for a lot of people, but there are certain people who that Viagra is a whole different animal, and that will work for them. Whereas this stuff really might not do much,
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. To me, I'm shocked. Like, this stuff worked. Worked better than it's supposed.
My guys down there, they were raving about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, I'm like, okay, but none of us really have issues. You see what I'm saying? So, I feel like, okay, there might be like a threshold to where it's like, if you have this level ED going on, that you need something else. He might need to change his diet or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's still something I'd like to. I'm like you know what I mean? I'd like to see if we can do some type of testosterone booster or some type of, you know what I mean? Something like that with that involved in it.
Yeah, I think it would be a great product. You know what I mean? I'm surprised more people aren't like using Bob One Day. And then when you got the Bob One Day, did you get the natural sticks or was it in a powder?
No, he got the sticks. I had him grind because I told him I needed it powder form. So he got the bark, grinded it up.
Oh, he got the
mortar and pestle, that type of thing, So I got it here, and it's all grinded. Now I have a grinder. I have a DF Golden Wall. I have a C Golden Wall DF15 grinder, a hammer mill here, which is what we grind up the Seamoss into like a fine dust, basically, for when we do our cosmetics using that instead of gel. You know what I mean? But the mortar and pestle that he used didn't grind it into a dust. You know what I mean? And so it was still kind of like a shredded bark. But for making tea, to me, that would still work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just checked to see. I wonder how potent the bark is as in compared to the rest of the tree, because essentially where the medicinal qualities from is in the oils and stuff in the tree, and it could be that the bark just wasn't strong enough. Do you know?
With yours, what do you know them to consume over on? Is it the roots, the bark? What part of the? Or are they extracting it?
They're generally taking the branches, the sticks, and like I guess the bark, or just like part of the lower end of the tree. Not so much the roots, but I think sometimes the roots and stuff. But what they do with it is they clean it and they put it into a spice rum, and they leave it to soak there.
That's what he said. That's what they were saying down there. That is typically they do it with rum, but the reason why is because rum is an alcohol. That's a solvent, and so anything you throw in there to start stripping away whatever's inside of it, it'll go into the rum, into the alcohol.
That's exactly why they do it. And they'll use like a strong overproof alcohol, and then you only need like one shot, to feel some effects, because it's so strong and potent. And then they also put like sarsaparilla, soursop leaves, and bay leaves and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Now the soursop and sarsaparilla, do you know that to be like a blood pressure type herb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I know, the sarsaparilla is like that. It's supposed to be like a blood thinner or something. And what was the other one you talking about? Soursop?
Soursop,
Yeah.
graviola, yeah.
From what I've been told, the soursop's great for like fighting cancer, free radicals and that kind of stuff. Like it's got a lot of cancer benefits. I find it, from my experience taking it, it's very relaxing, and it helps reduce a lot of anxiety and stuff. Like I'll definitely take it as a way to go to bed. If I drink a cup of
Okay.
it before, like I'm nodding out before I got to go to bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I had some of those here for my girl. She has her blood pressure's high. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I said this would be perfect since you already eat the gel. We'll just blend this into the gel, and with your gel, you could be taking this on the regular, and then just check your. She has the machine and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when she's consistent with it, her numbers go down, but she's not as consistent with it as she should be.
Yeah, that's the challenge. Is keeping
Yeah.
it regular. It's not easy to do at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. So with the purple sea moss, do you have the belief system too that it's the anthocyanins in there, that like how people be saying, or that it's something else that gives us its color and not what's in blueberries and plums and raspberry or whatever?
I think it's the same stuff, the anthocyanins with the colors of blueberries and stuff like that. I know that what happens when the sea moss starts to dry out, it changes color. You know what I mean? And it goes through some kind of like um, conversion or something like that. You know what I mean? And depending on how much sunlight it's getting will determine, you know what I mean, because like if you don't bleach it in those bags and you leave the sun out, the CMOS out in the sun, it will go like a pinkish before it goes white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, that's a good question, because one of the things is that, from my understanding, and I'm no expert at this, is that when you're looking at stuff like blueberries and stuff like that, that was something that was grown into the color. Like that was what it was through its genetic makeup. Whereas the purple sea moss and stuff, it's going through almost like a process, like a metamorphosis or whatever. Whereas the light helps change the color slightly. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. 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 Yeah, I always wondered that because I was just kind of like, um, when it comes to most things with anthocyanin, like whether you dry it, cook it, whatever, it's like so deeply enriched that it doesn't change. Whereas with the sea moss, it almost seems like the color's superficial, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that's why I kind of wondered that. That's just a observation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like with most stuff with anthocyanin, it's like it'll stain your clothes. The color so strong in there, and it's kind of superficial with the sea moss. Like if you grab a piece of a purple one, and you take a strand, and you almost tear it in half. Like the inside is almost like a bit translucent. You know what I mean? Instead of like a dark purple.
Yeah. It's more of like I don't want to say chemical change, but it's more of like um yeah, change. Like it's not like it was grown like that. You know what I mean? It was like fuck. I don't know. I forget. I'm too tired to think of the word like exact. But you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah. Something with the growing product. With the do you with the dried sea moss, and as far as turning it into powder and like milling companies and stuff like that, do you have any insight into that, like for like getting large amounts of it milled?
Not first-hand knowledge. Some of the people that I sell to, that's what they're doing with their CMOS, and they're usually handing it over directly to the companies, and then the companies have to do. Like I remember one guy was telling me that he needed me to send like a test shipment, like the test, because they got to configure the machine based on the CMOS. And so the question was like, is this CMOS always going to be this like same moisture content? Which honestly, it really depends on who I'm getting the CMOS from. Every guy dries it differently, and so I couldn't say that. But he said, okay, well, he needed 10 pounds to run through the machine so that they can tweak the machine in a way to make sure that the powder comes out in the consistency that they wanted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a lot of health food white label companies that will do the grinding and the powder for you. You know, which
you said what kind of? What did you say? White label health food companies?
Yeah, like there's these companies that will make your capsules, will make your whatever products. So they have the jars, they have the labeling machine and everything, and you kind of just go in and be like formulate something with them.
Yeah, and that's what. And I mean, because I'm right outside of Los Angeles, and so I talked to a couple, but they were like, "You have to use our ingredients." But I'm like, well, I need powdered sea moss in there, and you don't have that. I know you don't, and if you did, it's probably not. It's going to be more costly than me just giving it to you. You know what I mean, to grind. So it seemed like I have to get it milled at one place and then take it to an encapsulation place.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you know.
That's
so
crazy.
That's kind of the process that I'm going through right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. One person you might want to reach out to, just because I feel like they're producing the some of the best powder that's like available, would be Ricky Ray from Ocean Gold Seamoss. Let me like look up his website, to be honest with you. I know it's not. It's Ricky Ray. I think it's Ricky Ray's Ocean Gold Seamoss or Ricky Ray's Gold Seamoss.
That's the site.
His site is www.goldseamoss.com. And so he can white label the products for you. He has the CMOS and the CMOS powder and capsules. And the reason why I feel like his products stand out, he's one of the only guys I know of that have invested in a freeze dried machine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when
that's what he's doing with his CMOS? Is freeze drying it before processing it, or what?
Yeah.
Storing it.
Yeah, so he sells wholesale CMOS. So he sells dried CMOS. He sells it in bulk. He sells also CMOS soaps and stuff. And so now he's gotten into powder because, like he was saying, and I agree with him that it's like, as this market grows, the future is going to be in these powders. Because like you were doing, you're putting this in your different products. Like the powder can be a lot. I don't know. It's more versatile than the gel. Like so many things you can do.
What's his name again?
Ricky Ray.
Was he on? Okay, when you went live the last time, you had the Moss King, and then
he was
Ricky came in. He was the guy with the hair, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. And so I think we even in one of the live streams, if it's not that one, it was the time before, we got into depth where we were talking about the freeze dried machine that he has and the benefits from it and what it does. Freeze drying, if you do the research, you'll see it's one of the best methods to turn something into a powder that while maintaining all of it. Like we were doing research on powder and we were planning to do the freeze dried machine, and then we saw him do it. And he's so funny. He's like, "Yeah, just so you know, you saw it here first." I was like, "Motherfucker." Taking the credit. Fine. But you know what? To me, it's like this: those who hustle and put themselves out there deserve the prize. I never hate on people for hard work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't do the hard work, like if you sort of cut corners and you gyp people and you did shit like that, then I have no respect for you. Right? That's just like whatever. Fuck, dude. Anybody can do that shit. The strength is in is in doing a good job while maintaining your respect and, you know what I mean, your principles. That's a challenge, you know. That's power to me. So yeah, he's the guy that I believe, you know, if you're going to get serious about the buying the powder, you'd want to reach out to him, and I believe he does white labeling too. So you could send him your packaging and your labels and stuff like that, and it'd be good to, you know.
Okay.
Well, reach out and talk to him. Don't take my word for it, because honestly, I've never asked him, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" But you know what I mean. Like, I'm sure he could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, man. Well, I won't take up too much more of your time because it's getting kind of late out here. I know if you're over there in Canada, it's hella late over there.
Yeah, it's 1:20, and I get up
Yeah.
usually around 6 in the morning. So
Okay.
I should kind of end. I think in the future I'm gonna make like a rule, like, you know, if I like start at this time, I end at this time, because I've been talking now for 3.5 hours. It's crazy. But you know, the only way you could, like, how do I say it? I could talk more, but if you were to watch me on the video, you'll see me. I'm like, I'm drifting as I'm
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And what are you doing? You gonna do these like once a week?
I'm actually doing them now Sundays and Wednesdays, usually
Okay.
after
Cool.
9 o'clock. So if you check,
9 o'clock your time.
yeah, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I'll
Okay.
probably go at least 2 hours. I can't see
Okay.
myself being less than an hour unless I'm completely bored by myself, you know, with nothing to
Yeah.
talk about, which rarely happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Wednesday it is.
Yeah, come join us Wednesday, and even come on the Facebook Live to, you know, because there's links here if you want to get in on the conversation. And we, just like you saw the video with me, Moss Boss, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I can get up to like 10 people in the group, you know.
And that's when you go through Facebook. So you get on this same conversation through Facebook, and then you can do the video chat.
Yeah. So right now I'm streaming on, I think, 2 or 3 groups in Facebook, and my group on YouTube, Seamoss Talk.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and then
All right, brother.
all right.
So yeah, I'll catch you Wednesday night then.
Okay, sounds good. I'll look forward to linking back up with you again.
All right. Have a good night.
Okay, good night. Yeah, I'm gonna end that room tonight. Leave quietly. Oh, what a night! What a night! Looks like there's a few people still watching me. So thank you so much for spending the, you know, however long you did. I hope you guys got some good value to it, and you guys learned something from what we've been talking about. Um, I'll take a second here to see if anybody has any more questions that you want me to ask. And if there is no questions, then maybe I'll just kind of shut her down. And I don't know. I still got fucking CMOS to pack, and I got these other packages. I gotta, like, fucking, excuse my language, I gotta package and seal. You know, CMOS life never ends, never ends, never ends. But like he was saying before, like, even tonight, 3 hours, it barely felt like an hour that I was doing this for. And so it's that passionate, it's that passion that I get my energy from. You know what I mean? And it's being able to connect with all these people and have these kind of conversations that motivates me to do it. I love it. You know what I mean? It's great. We talked about everything tonight. And there was at one point where we weren't even talking about CMOS, which was, I thought, was pretty cool. So again, thanks so much for joining us. I encourage you guys to come out and participate more, get more of your questions answered. You know, join in on the conversation. Use the links that I provide to be added as a guest host. Hey, and if you have a company or a business, like, definitely come on here and share your experiences. One, you can get your message out there, but two, if you message me afterwards, I save all these streams, like I have them as recordings, and I don't mind sharing them with you, that you can then take this information and cut it up and use it as for your own content, so that you can get better to your customer base. Right. So I hope to see more of you guys next Wednesday. I'll probably make an announce that day around what time, but look for us around 9:30. I think that's a good time, and yeah, we'll take it there. So thank you so much, guys, and have a great night. And don't forget to take your CMOS. Take care.